Okay, so unfortunately, it looks like the stream just went out here. It looks like I can add Guido back. Guido, we had some technical issues just now. This is a brand new stream completely.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. That's such as the NFL draft.
That's right.
You got to adjust on the fly.
Olu Fashanu's a great. I don't remember what. I don't know if we cut out then.
Yeah,
but
my bad.
Olu Fashanu's a great pick for the Jets. Olu Fashanu is I think he's a superstar. Like that kid is going to be they have a left tackle. That's it.
Yep.
They're done. They don't ever have to worry about that position again. He is a beast on the O-line.
No question. Just getting everybody back into the stream here. Okay. Oh, looks like we got a lot of viewers now.
Like back.
Got over. So Eric's back. John's going to be in here shortly. So yeah,
it might be a new tactic right there.
Yeah, yeah. We have to make that an annual tradition. We almost missed Denver's pick, which could have been disastrous for Broncos fans.
I don't know that it's a quarterback here. I just don't. I don't
know. Think so? It's got to be
Bo
Nix, right?
Is bold. If they go Bo Nix here, that's bold. That
so
really
many good
is something.
Players. Has there only been one defensive player taken so far, or
there's been no defensive players
so they could get the best defensive player on the board at 11 or at 10? Oh.
Yeah, that's wild to me. Whoa,
that's wild. Okay, John's back in. Before we move on with more information, looks like the Broncos are about to announce their pick, so we'll bring in the chimes here.
Mm-hmm.
We got a Broncos.
They go defense.
I don't know.
Top defensive players still in the league. No defensive player went so far. Right?
Not a single one. Not yet.
How about that? Not. Oh, whoops, we just repeated the chimes again. Whoops. Double chime.
This is a big one.
Special player.
This guy's gonna be a Hall of Famer.
It is Bo Nix. Bo Nix goes to the Broncos.
Oh
man.
Oh man.
6 quarterbacks in the top 6.
Top 12. Listen,
Shit.
I was talking to my buddy a while ago about he's a Broncos fan. He's saying, I'm telling you right now, Mike, do not be surprised if all the quarterbacks are gone and they take Bo Nix anyway. That's what he was telling me. And I should have listened. I was telling, no way. There's no way there's going to be 6 quarterbacks gone that early. Listen, one thing that we can say about Bo Nix, for real, he's a gamer. This guy is an absolute gamer. He's played a lot of college football. He's been around college football for a long time, plays with a lot of toughness, good athlete, can really make stuff out of broken plays. Like, he's one of these players that can really move outside of the pocket and improvise. So I like that about him. He doesn't have the best footwork in the world. His arm is not the strongest, but this is a gamer quarterback. This is a guy that is going to win you games just from being one of those guys that plays well in tough situations. So it's a ballsy pick for Denver. I got to give him that. It is really something.
For sure. Yeah. So when y'all guys said that, they had no second round pick, then it made it kind of obvious for Denver to pick Bo Nix, man. Like I said, going into the season, man, I had him as probably the number 2 prospect coming out, you know what I mean, or 3rd quarterback. I think I said he was probably going to New England or something. So definitely shout out to Bo Nix. I like him as a player. So, but Denver definitely reached all these Denver, Minnesota, Atlanta. Reached.
Atlanta didn't reach. I'm telling you right now.
Bryson is ready to sing
love
the
him.
tunes.
Love him.
Right.
So let me ask y'all this: now, what do the Raiders do? Because I'd argue the Raiders need a quarterback more immediately now than Minnesota and Denver. Well, not Denver. Denver was in a pretty rough spot, but
not taking them out.
Now what?
You don't think Atlanta's using Penix as trade bait, possibly, or would they have just traded the pick?
They'd have to get some kind of package.
Yeah, I think as far as the Raiders are concerned, this to me is pretty much BPA. Like I'm in a position where the Raiders, you're looking at almost any defensive player you want. You're looking at offensive line if you want it. Like, you could really go in a lot of different directions for the Raiders. So BPA for me, honestly, that would be my move, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, no, listen, this is I mean, they could go defense. They could go defense. Potentially go Byron Murphy here. They're thin down inside. We know obviously that they've got a defensive head coach. So Antonio Pierce likes those type of guys, and I don't know, that could fit. But
I think that this is Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah, I've had Quinyon Mitchell mocked here for a long time, so that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I think they go best player available. I don't think they expected some of these defensive guys to go this high. But y'all keep doing your thing. I'm gonna tap in a little later. You know what I mean? But I gotta go now.
Shout out John. Great stuff. Fan Perspective Podcast. Everybody check his stuff out. John Rivera.
Peace.
Shout out to him once again, doing great stuff, and collaborates with our network all the time. So definitely shout out to John. Yeah, listen now. This is it looks like the Raiders are about to make their selection. So here we go. They go Brock Bowers. Wow.
Bowers. After taking Michael Mayer
they just loaded up
last year.
their offense.
They took Michael Mayer last year at the top of the second round.
That's interesting. So I guess Mayer's their backup now, right? I mean, or they move him?
Well, here's the thing: is Bowers he can work out of the slot. So if you really want to use those, not 21 personnel, but 12 personnel looks, which is just one running back, two tight ends on the field. You can do that with Mayer and a Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers, he's one of those guys. He's a yak demon. He's just a playmaker. So you utilize him more as a bigger wide receiver out of the slot than necessarily a tight end.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where he's not really, in my mind, he's not really a refined route runner like a receiver would be, but he's just such a physical player. He's great, like EJ said, he's a yak monster. Yeah. This guy with the ball in open space can really make a lot of plays. Can go up and get the football. He's just a really talented player. Like you said, Bryson, like you said, you said you saw him in person. He's just one of these guys where he just looks different. Right? Like they run, Georgia was running jet sweeps with Brock Bowers. So
no, it's crazy.
He is a remarkable athlete. So I'm not knocking the player. I'm knocking the need. Like when I was saying BPA before, it was because I wasn't really imagining that Brock Bowers was an option for them. That is really interesting. Like I did not anticipate that even kind of.
Yeah, and this is just for record. This is the 13th straight offensive player to start the draft.
Yeah,
it's not a record draft in every way.
The record for a total first round is 19. I think that's going to get shattered tonight.
Oh, dude! Unless there's a massive run on defensive guys, I agree with you. That
New Orleans, New Orleans almost is pigeonholed into offensive tackle, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, I think it's going to be 14.
Especially with Ramchick out for the year potentially.
Indy is interesting. Indy, though, truthfully, I think that New Orleans is going to go one of these tackles, Fuaga or Fontenot. Indy's going to go a sleeper pick right here, Brian Thomas Jr., the wide receiver out of LSU.
Get AR weapon.
LSU
they love guys that are just workout demons and have measurables and just dunk on you kind of guys.
Yeah.
Just seems like an indie pick.
I'm stunned by Brock Bowers to the Raiders. I'm stunned.
Is that more shocking, Mike, than Penix to the Falcons?
No, but it is surprising though. Like I said, like we were saying, like they just drafted. I was a big fan of Michael Mayer last year. Like I really was. That guy was as tough as they come.
You wanted the Cowboys to take him.
You know what's funny is
I really wanted him.
Mayer is the prototypical like old school tight end. Yeah. Bowers is the complete opposite. He's that new school, just kind of route you up, yards after the catch. Not the greatest blocker, but just a weapon. It's funny how they did that with the Mayer and the Bowers selections.
Yeah, no question.
I can really see him running the two tight end formation out there.
Yeah,
they're going old school. They're going old school with Antonio Pierce. So. Yeah, that's kind of their MO. They ran there was one game on Christmas Day they played the Chiefs, and they didn't complete a pass after the first quarter. Yeah. So now they had Josh Jacobs back then, but still, I mean, they can. Listen, we know running back is a replaceable position. Obviously, Jacobs going to the Packers, so That's feels like the Raiders probably go running back within their next 2 to 3 picks. You know, as obviously the weekend goes on.
And truthfully, I think the Raiders got their actual selection they wanted there wiped from them, because I don't think that Bowers was ever their intentional pick there.
They just went best on the board for them.
Yeah,
for them, no question. Saints have about 3.5 minutes to make their selection. Listen, this is 13 straight players drafted. Again, it's a more offense heavy draft. As I said, like 2 years ago, it was nothing but defensive players. And again, the best quote unquote best quarterback obviously didn't end up being that at all was Kenny Pickett. So again, this is a far cry from what we saw just 2 years ago. But listen, college football has changed. The identity of it has changed into more offense centric, and we've seen that as of late. So. This is so. Mike, you suggested early in the show, and I mean now they really can't do it. You said I asked you teams that have their quote unquote not necessarily even franchise guy, but good players that could take a quarterback. Obviously, Atlanta ended up being the team that did it. That shocked everybody.
That's out the window now.
That's definitely out the window for the Saints. So I'm going to guess. I think it's Fuaga.
They need tackles, right? Fuaga, Fortanu. Amarius Mims. This is a little early for him, but one of these tackles is going to go. I think right now,
more based on need. Yeah.
I
kind of hope Mims falls to the Steelers.
I think we're going to see foul. I think we're going to see one of the Fs, Fuaga or Fontenot, and then a wide receiver, and then whoever's left out of the last tackle that's up there in that echelon, picked by Seattle. But sleeper pick for Seattle might be Byron Murphy.
I don't think that's a sleeper. I think that could happen. Like that's a real possibility for them. I've heard that that's his floor. Like Byron Murphy is not going to fall past Seattle.
So he goes with the next 3 picks. Well, listen, obviously the Colts have DeForest Buckner, so that's that's unlikely there. At least I feel. Of course, again, Buckner's getting a little older, so maybe they decide to keep that. Keep that position strong. Picks in for the Saints. So, and then they had a little under 2 minutes to go when that just came across the ESPN screen. So we'll see if they're they go the kid out of Iowa.
They could go DeJean. They could, Quinyon Mitchell is still on the board. Terry and Arnold is still on the board.
Yeah, I think those two go before DeJean.
Me too.
They picked Julius Brents last year, the cornerback out of Kansas State, I believe. Yeah. They typically, like I said, they pick the prototypical kind of guys. So I don't know that Arnold or Quinyon. I mean, Quinyon's a little bit bigger, but I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, they could easily use corner. New Orleans could use a corner, truthfully.
They could. I mean, obviously they got Lattimore still there, but yeah, they could try and strengthen a strength. I'm kind of with Mike though. I think this is Fuaga. I think this has to be.
No, I think this is a tackle too. I just throw another name out there.
Yeah, let's just shake it up. So that would be. I mean, the Colts could go. The Colts feel like they go corner. So wouldn't that be something? You said, Mike, that Murphy doesn't fall beyond Seattle. Wouldn't that be something though if we go through the half of the first round and not a single defensive player's off the board?
Yeah, that would be really unprecedented. I don't know that would. I don't know that that's ever happened. I don't know if this has ever happened. Like this is really something else. I did not expect, like I said before, for 6 quarterbacks to go in the top 12 is really something.
Well, I told you Daniel Jeremiah had 6 in the top 13, so this is pretty close to that. But
I know we all got to start listening to Daniel Jeremiah more. I think.
Yeah, he was onto something. He was onto something.
He's plugged.
He
man.
knows something that we don't. Well, I mean, obviously he knows something that we don't. But
oh my gosh! So we're just waiting for the commissioner to come on the stage. I feel like it's been our longest time waiting. Maybe because there hasn't been anything just mind-boggling. I'm telling you,
this would have been a good spot to play one of those promos, I think, Bryce.
Well, you know what? See, to be honest,
not anticipated, but it would have been a decent time right now.
The second I tried to get one of those promos going, like the show went out. That's when our first stream went out. So I for some reason it just glitched. I'm not gonna tinker with that again. I just have to do this a third time. But yeah, okay. Here comes the commissioner. So the pick is coming in any second now.
Yeah, offensive tackle I think is a shoe in here.
Yep. Fuaga. They go Fuaga.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
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 I mean, this was, I think, I'm actually surprised he didn't go earlier. I was really expecting him to go maybe even in the top 10. But 6'6", 324, really, really dominant run blocker. Like this guy plays with such a mean streak on the run. It's remarkable how strong he is. The issue that he does have is that there are times where he almost overplays his opposition, right? He allows defensive players to kind of make their moves around him because he's so into getting into their body, quick chucking and everything. Like he's very, very into that. But when he's composed, this is a guy that can dominate at a tackle position, especially in a run-based scheme. This is a good pick here. They needed tackles. And I think Taliesin Fawai, he was the best tackle left on my board, at least. He was my number 12 overall player. Really, really good pick by the Saints.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And listen, they obviously get some stability there. They get to protect Derek Carr. Again, the Saints aren't short on weapons. Again, obviously they still have Olave, Alvin Kamara, obviously isn't the same player they used to be. They still have some guys there, but if Derek Carr is continuously on his backside the whole game, obviously Atlanta has some guys defensively, although I think we were all shocked they didn't go edge rusher. Tampa Bay's got some good pass rushers. Carolina obviously moving Brian Burns, but at the end of the day, I think there's some solid pass rushers pass rushing groups in the NFC South. And being able to protect Derek Carr is going to be massive. Especially, good news for the Saints is I could be wrong on this, but I think I remember seeing an article saying that they had one of the easiest schedules in the league, so that could be a potential plus for them. So
maybe
we'll see how that plays out. But Indianapolis now on the board. So
Indy
I think
sneakily
Cooper
could
John.
go Dallas
really
Turner. You think so? Wow,
I think
that would surprise me.
They could go corner. I think they need a corner.
Yeah, they definitely need a corner. They definitely need a corner. But listen, they could use some help on the edge too. EJ's not wrong. They could use a lot of different positions, especially on the defensive side of the football. So I would not be surprised if they ended up going defense here. But hey, look, the run on offensive players continues. Brian Thomas, like EJ said, is still on the board. That's a guy whose stock has been rising in the last few weeks. They love his speed. So wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's either Dallas Turner, Quinyon Mitchell, or Brian Thomas Jr. All of those guys meet their kind of typical thresholds they like for their players.
Well, they obviously would give Richardson a weapon there. So with Jonathan Taylor, with some of the guys they already have, Pittman.
Thinking, I don't know where they pick in the second round, but Pearsall is a Florida guy. Maybe they repair him up later in the second, and they go defense here in the first.
Yep.
Well, listen, that tends to work. Pairing college guys with their former college receivers with their quarterbacks, obviously with Burrow and Chase, with Tua and Jalen Waddle. I'm not saying it's going to work to that degree, but you never know. Obviously, those guys are more than capable. Mel Kiper's got his best on the board. He's got Turner, Latu, and Dejan as the three best defensive players, and he's got Fatanu and who else does he have? He's got Brian Thomas Jr. as his fifth best player on the board. So, Mike, I'm looking at your board right now. So,
yeah, my 5 best available right now are Dallas Turner, 8th overall player. I think he's the best defensive player left on the board. I think he's a really underrated pass rusher. Terry and Arnold, I like him a little bit more than Quinyon Mitchell. I think he's a more complete corner. But Dallas Turner, Terry and Arnold, Jared Verse, Quinyon Mitchell, and Byron Murphy right now are my top players overall. So all defensive guys are in my top 5 at the moment. So
really,
yeah,
mine would be Troy Fontenot, best
Fontenot's
available, and then Quinyon, then probably Liatu Latu, then Arnold, then Dallas Turner.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm not as into Liatu Latu as some of these other guys. I'm just not.
Has the injury concerns a little bit, but
it is. But he's also I don't know, something about him.
UCLA guys.
UCLA guys.
Damn, UCLA guys are all soft. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. They don't play in the rough SEC or Big Ten. So there you go. So listen, obviously, like you said, we are We're 14 picks in, not the first defensive player. And listen, this is is this a knock or a look in the mirror when it comes to how the NFL has completely shifted? I mean, not one defensive player. Like Atlanta goes with quarterback, which is at least right now, one of the least their needs. I mean, that kind of tells you where the league is going.
Yeah.
And listen, expect that to be a topic and a talking point as time goes on.
Yep.
Yeah, I wonder if the quarterback on the rookie contract narrative, how everyone's saying the best thing is to have Patrick Mahomes, and after that, the best thing is to have a good quarterback on a rookie contract. I wonder if a lot of these teams are eager to get that quarterback on a rookie contract that they trust, and that's why all these guys just went so high. I mean, the top four
Atlanta,
completely understandable, but the last two were crazy to me.
Well, Atlanta doesn't have the luxury of the rookie contract QB because they got Cousins.
Yeah,
Denver doesn't get the luxury of the rookie quarterback because they're still paying Russell Wilson. So it's like
we get him for cheap.
Yeah, so
$1 million. I was really hoping Penix would fall to Pittsburgh, guys. I really was. I was kind of hoping against hope.
That would have been a treat.
It would have been. Trust me, I would have been. But now, listen. Now
Spencer Rattler, bro, 20.
Oh God, no. Or Joe Milton. Listen, see, you guys may think I'm going to be like, over the moon about Joe Milton if we take him. No. He can't see the field that well. That's my concern. Listen, maybe we can go after. What's that?
Throws bullets.
Oh, you're not kidding. No, the guys. No, I actually we know somebody, close friends of the family. He gave Joe Milton the nickname Overthrow Joe, which I thought was a touch harsh, but there's some truth to it. But Colts pick is in. Looks like the commissioner is going to be making his way to the podium any second now. And here it is. Here's the pick. They go Latu. Wow. Okay, first defensive player off the board.
Wow.
Okay, Mike, you were just saying you weren't terribly high on this guy. Tell me about this guy.
Yeah, I'm not like super. I don't know that I buy into his strength, especially early on in his career. He's a much more finesse defensive end than a power guy, right? So okay. I think it could be possible that he gets pushed around a little bit early in his career, especially. But listen, there's no doubt that the production is there. He's 6'5". Like I said, he's one of these agile pass rush players. He's got a good skill set, right? Like he has solid swim moves, and like he really does. He's a pretty refined rusher in the fact that he's what would be the word? He's, like I said before, he's a little bit more finesse. He doesn't rely on his strength. But listen, I'm a little lower on him. He's my number 28 overall player. But listen, he's solid. He's a first-round edge rusher. But I don't know. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for him to really come into his own, I think.
Yeah, and obviously, like they just showed here, he was told to retire after a neck injury. So this guy's football career is almost over, and now he's picked middle of the first round. So definitely comeback story there. And obviously going from a school in UCLA now, he's moving to Indianapolis. And listen, that's a division of the AFC South. There's a lot of great young up and coming quarterback talent. Obviously, we all know about Stroud. I'm still very high on Trevor Lawrence. Obviously his guy, Anthony Richardson. We'll see what happens with Will Levis. So yeah, that's a potential up and coming quarterback division, somewhat similar to the NFC South to a lesser degree, I would argue. But listen, there's the two most important things when it comes to winning the National Football League is making sure your quarterback's in the best position possible and making sure the other team's quarterback is in the worst position possible. That sounds simplistic, but if you get that down, you'll win a lot of games in this league. And listen, Indianapolis is hoping that's the case. They've got DeForest Buckner on that D line, so. If this kid hits, they could potentially do some damage. But
why do you like Latu as much as you do?
Well, first of all, Bryson brought up the neck injury. He almost had football taken away from him. You know what I mean? Yeah. He works his way back from that. He transfers from Washington to UCLA. 2022 season was good. 2023 season, he has like 13 sacks. Yeah. He's a guy that's he's nuanced as a rusher. He knows how to counter. He has a pass rush plan each and every single snap. He's not just going to the same move over and over. He's a guy that has a lot of different tools in his toolbox. And so that's one of the main reasons why I liked him. Sure, he doesn't really overpower you, or he doesn't have the craziest, first step and bend, but he's just super nuanced. And factor on top of that is just that this guy, I don't have any questions about him loving football. He's going to come in, he's going to grind, he's going to work and continue to get better and better.
Yeah.
And
that's valuable.
I bet on those guys, man. I really do, because you talk about possibly never playing the game again, like he was told, like he didn't even pass his physical in Washington. Transfers to UCLA to get the chance to even play, does clear their physical, and then he has, some crazy seasons. He's a guy that, he's versatile too. Like he can drop into coverage as well. I really liked him on film. I thought that he was more consistent than Dallas Turner. And especially some of the other Chop Robinson and some of those other guys down the board for me.
No question. Before we get to the Seattle pick, Barry says, they said Cousins was stunned by the pick. Not good already. Yeah, that's... Somebody's gonna have to go. I mean, unless they are gambling on this being a Jordan Love 2.0. Like, and Jordan Love was more of a, how old was he? Like 21 when he was drafted. So again, age, very different. Penix is by definition closer to his peak than what Jordan Love was. More of a developmental prospect. There's a reason he was a late first rounder. But yeah, that's interesting.
So this is interesting here. So Adam Schefter just tweeted out, I shouldn't say just tweeted out, about 23 minutes ago, he tweeted that Denver held a private workout for Bo Nix the day after his pro day. And the night before the workout, the Broncos sent him 3 packets of offensive play installation, right?
Oh, wow.
And the next morning, as they worked in the classroom with him, he said they, quote, crushed it. Like, he absolutely crushed it with them. And then they took it from the classroom to the field, and he was executing their plays perfectly. So
that matters.
Listen, if that's the kind of feel you get from a quarterback, you're not passing up on it no matter what.
Sure. So, and they have to move. They have to move. So,
and another thing is, I mocked him almost all of my mocks to Denver, strictly because he fits that system. Why am I forgetting his name?
Sean Payton.
Yeah, Sean Payton loves to run. Just those quick hitting plays, not the super deep over the top stuff, and he can buy you time. He stays on time with his drops and everything, and just rips it whenever it needs to be. He's dramatically improved since Auburn these past couple of years at Oregon, and it pays dividends for him. Nobody could have told me that kid from Auburn was going to go top 12. Whenever
I was
he was
thinking
playing
the same
there.
exact thing. Like 3 years ago, if you watched that guy at Auburn, you would never imagine he would be a first-round quarterback. Probably not even drafted in general.
Well, that's another guy, by the way. We talked about early in the draft, Jaden Daniels beating Justin Herbert in college. Well, so did Bo Nix. So, like, 2 guys that beats a guy who's going into year 5 of his career. Like, that's, it goes to show you the depth in terms of their college experience. Listen, the only reason I like Bo Nix a lot more than I like McCarthy. I like basically all the high-end quarterbacks more than I like McCarthy. My thing with Bo Nix is, again, the mobility's there, the arm strength. Again, if that report is true and he executed the game plan and not the game plan, but the playbook as well as Denver says he did, that could work. And listen, Sean Payton's the quarterback whisperer. I'll never forget his last year in New Orleans, the year after Breeze retired. They went through a carousel of quarterbacks. I mean, some bad quarterbacks, and almost made the playoffs in what was a stacked NFC that year. So, listen, he's a more than capable coach. I defended Sean through a lot of last year. I didn't think he was the source of their issues. I think it was a rebuilding situation that folks might have had a little bit too high expectations of. And right now he gets to go with this guy. But only thing with him, and you ask, why do I not feel this way about Penix? Because he's in a similar situation, is the fact that both guys are, older college players, maybe closer to their peak performance and peak ability as what they are. The reason I like Penix better is just simply because I think his arm strength and his accuracy are second to outside of Caleb Williams. That's about it in this draft.
I think we're starting to see a transition of this idea that guys that have played a lot of college football, they're going to get picked higher nowadays in the NFL just because you saw Brock Purdy. You've seen it with
Burrow.
Yeah, Burrow.
Yep.
Just a bunch of different quarterbacks that they see a lot of a ball in college, and they come in, they seem to pick it up faster versus the guys that are like Zach Wilson that had that 1 year, 1 year wonder kind of a thing, and haven't been very good. So it doesn't surprise me that 6 quarterbacks went. Now, if you tell me Spencer Rattler goes, then I will be very surprised.
That would be shocking.
Yep.
So Seattle on the board right now. This is Byron Murphy, right?
Yeah, that would be my guess is Byron Murphy. I was
hope
told
so.
Need some help
I
inside.
was I shouldn't say I was told. I've heard that this is his floor. Like there's no way he gets past Seattle at this point. So I would say Byron Murphy. And that's, you want to talk about draft stock rising. I mean, this guy went from like a 3rd round pick all the way to here. So, I have a feeling that it's Byron Murphy here. And if it's not Byron Murphy here, it's Byron Murphy soon. So
For sure. Well, Jacksonville could use him. Cincinnati. Well, they just lost a Reader in free agency, so they could potentially use him as well.
That's his floor.
I'll
to
say
me is Cincinnati.
What's that?
I said that's his floor, in my opinion.
Sure.
Cincinnati.
I think Jacksonville's going receiver. So I think they probably go go receiver at that pick. But obviously the top 3 are off the board. So, but listen, we could finally have back-to-back defensive players off the board. So all the old school guys who 13-10 final scores rejoice because you are finally getting your moment in the sun during this draft. But it would appear the commissioner is about to make his way to the board. I was about to say the Pete Carroll Seahawks. It still feels weird that he's not there anymore. Will McDonald, obviously the new head coach. But the Seahawks are about to have their selection announced to America. And there's a delay. I think they're doing like a public address announcement.
And no Pete Carroll, no Nick Saban on the sidelines this year. That's going to be weird to see.
Yeah, Belichick. Yeah, it's odd.
Yeah, Belichick too. Yeah.
It's very strange. The Pete Carroll thing didn't make sense to me. I'm not, and listen, Will McDonald may do a heck of a job. He was an awesome DC in Baltimore, but that's very, very surprising to me. Still kind of is, and I think Pete was shocked by it. But
you think he comes back after this year,
Pete Carroll?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he wants to be near the franchise. Pete Carroll is he's 73, 72, 73, and he acts like he's 43. I mean, the guy just has insane energy. So, I mean, you never know. But, okay, finally. Okay, Goodell's making his way to the podium. So, it looks like the pick is coming in right now. They're doing a salute to service right now. They just showed looks like a base in South Korea. So, shout out to our amazing men and women who are serving this country. Shout out to everybody out there. Here's the pick. There it is. Byron Murphy goes to Seattle. Defensive tackle out of Texas. You were just talking about Mike. He's really risen up boards in recent times. So tell me about Byron Murphy and to the Seattle Seahawks.
Super explosive on the interior. I think he's a little bit more versatile than people give him credit for. I think you could play him in a few different schemes. I know that people view that as sort of a weakness, is that he's kind of scheme specific, but I really don't think so. I think you could play him in a lot of different ways. Plays with a super high motor, really gets up into your grill as a defensive tackle. Just a really solid player. A bit undersized for the position. That's part of it, but I think this guy can really shed blockers. This is a really athletic player for his position. Again, the size is a little bit concerning to some extent, but he is a mean man. So he'll get in there and make plays. So this is a good pick. Like I said, I've mocked Byron Murphy to Seattle for a while now. Like I said, I heard that this was his floor. So this pick makes a lot of sense to me. They need help on the defensive line in a big way. Byron Murphy can do that.
Before we continue, we're about to bring a new guest in. We actually just got a trade that just now came in. I was just about to say we haven't had any trades. The Vikings have traded with the Jaguars to get the 17th pick in the draft. So what do they do?
The Vikings are the only team that is interested in being active at the moment.
Evidently so. They made the two trades for the night. So
I think the Vikings are coming up for a corner.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Listen,
Cooper John. Yeah.
Strike, I know I'm low on McCarthy, but if they can strike McCarthy and like Quinyon Mitchell in the same draft, that's a real draft. Like that's a real game changer kind of draft.
No, it is. It is.
Do you care if I bring up this graphic?
No, knock yourself out.
This was Byron Murphy's scouting report for anybody that's wondering. Just straight dog. You can play him anywhere along the line. Rare explosiveness off the snap. Handles double teams with strength, competitiveness. Solid pick for the Seahawks, and it's one of those guys that is instantly going to make an impact along that line.
Yeah, no, he's got the capability to do so. Before we move on, and for some reason my caps lock is down. We are having some technical issues, but my caps lock is down. So from now on, you're just going to see the under case Minnesota Vikings and from here on the clock. But let's go and bring our another guest. He's a massive New England Patriots fan, and it looks like they got a new quarterback. Would you please welcome the host of the Boston Sports Summit on the Gryd Network, Tim Barnard. Tim, you guys just got Drake May with the 3rd overall pick. How you feeling tonight, my man?
I feel like it's the safe move. It's the move that everybody was expecting. Jaden Daniels going 2. Drake May's going 3. I wanted chaos, man. I mean, personally, I liked Michael Penix better, just from a sheer throwing standpoint. But, I mean, hey, I'm not mad. I just wanted chaos. So, I don't know. I think there are a lot of holes to be filled with this team, and
sorry not to cut you off, but the pick is in for Minnesota. I think. I just heard the chime. Okay, they just went Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner to the Minnesota Vikings. So they go defense here and they go pass rusher.
Yeah, I think this is the best pass rusher in the draft.
I agree.
I really do. I think this is the best pass rusher in the draft. He's so explosive, and he moves like the guy's like a guard. Like he's just so fluid in his motion. He's just so, and when I say guard, I mean like a basketball guard. Like he just moves like a guy that can really get down the line and spin and attack the quarterback. He's got great bend, unbelievable player. Just listen, he's just one of these guys I think that will struggle a bit as maybe a run defender early in his career. But he's going to get after the quarterback right away. I think this guy can really get after it. Super athletic. Love the pick for Minnesota. They need edge rushers. They lost Danielle Hunter. This is an area of need for them. I really like it.
Yeah, I do too. This is, and again, this is to me, he's a very quick, rangy, off the ball type of guy. He gets to play on turf in Minnesota, so the little things like that, I think, factor in as well to this draft selection. But Trippy Rubin says, "Wow, shocking Turner." Yeah, I really thought they were going to go corner here. I thought that was a position of need. But listen, we talk about what Brian Flores has been able to do. The defense was, Eric sort of alluded to it earlier when the Giants playoff win. But 2 years ago, the Vikings defense was god-awful, certainly gets the pass. And now last year they took a big step up. Now they had, as Guido said, potentially the best pass rusher in this year's draft. And again, we talk about getting after the quarterback. There's a lot of really nice quarterbacks to be getting after right now. Obviously, you talk about Caleb. We'll see what he becomes. Jordan Love had a great second half, and Jared Goff's an established guy in the pocket there in Detroit, potentially, going out there winning games. So they go Dallas Turner here. But no, I cut you off earlier, Tim. What were you saying?
No, I was just saying, like, listen, I got no problems with Drake May as the quarterback for the Patriots. I was just looking at it as the Patriots have so many holes to fill offensively, from the wide receiver position to the offensive line to the quarterback position, that I'm like, why don't we just trade back, accumulate as much capital as possible, try to hit on as many picks as possible, and, at least this season, just to do something, because we could have got J.J. McCarthy later on. We could have, I know with Atlanta, but still, like, we could have had Michael Penix later, Bo Nix, in 12. So I don't know. I was just looking at it going, I like it, but I wanted more. And that's why, as much as I know it, I wasn't in the room. I don't know what the other teams were offering, if they were at all. So I can't really make that assessment. But hey, you know what? I'm looking forward to see what Drake May can do.
Well, look, I think the drafts. Do you have anything, Mike?
I was just going to give you the return on the trade between Jacksonville and Minnesota. So the Vikings get 17 from Jacksonville. Jacksonville gets the 23rd pick. They get pick 167, which is in the 5th round of this year, and they get a 3rd and a 4th next year.
Wow.
It's a nice haul.
Yeah.
That's a good. Yeah. Good on Jacksonville.
And I think I've always thought Jacksonville's going receiver. So Brian Thomas feels like he does fall to that 23rd pick. I mean, let's look at the board. Again, this is prior to the draft. There's obviously been trades, but let's see what we got here. So obviously you see Minnesota at 23. That's Jacksonville. So, I mean, my Steelers, I think will go offensive line, although we'll see who's still on the board. It could go receiver as well. Dolphins are good. Philly just literally signed A.J. Brown today. So, yeah, I mean, that receiver feels like is where, where the Jaguars get their guy. But, yeah, like you said, Mike, the Vikings the only team interested in making moves tonight in terms of making trades. So
they had 2 first-round picks. They were 11 and 23. They end up making them at 10 and 17. So they're interested in moving. Only 2 trades tonight. We were expecting more, and those are the only 2 at the moment.
Well, I mean, we knew the Vikings with two first-round draft picks would do something. They have, and it turns out, isn't that ironic? They make 2 moves, and they have the 2 first-round picks regardless. So that's right. Not terrible. I don't love the McCarthy pick, but it's not bad business.
Yeah, better than Bo Nix. I can tell you that much.
I don't know, and I'm not high on either, to be honest with you. I don't, but at least Bo gets Sean Payton. But
true.
And at least, listen, JJ McCarthy gets Kevin O'Connell. I mean, I think both are tremendous offensive coaches. So, I mean, we'll see.
Didn't we have that in our draft show last week?
Yeah, I think you made that pick, Timmy.
Yeah.
McCarthy to Vikings.
Yep, Bo Nix, baby.
Oh, no, Bo Nix, Denver, he made that pick.
Oh, Bo Nix, Denver. Yeah, McCarthy. Yeah, there you go. So
I think I leaned him in there. No, one thing I'm going to say, though.
Giants, too, EBL.
Did we have McCarthy to the Giants?
We did. Yep. That was Timmy's pick, too.
Oh,
had me all stressed out for no reason, man. Had me all stressed out.
I'm glad they avoided that for your sake, Eric.
Yeah, we got a dog. We got a dog, baby.
You did.
Dude, I'm a little bit worried about these corners. I was hoping that the top 2 were off the board for Philly, but it seems like they might have the opportunity to get one of these top 2 guys.
Yeah, we don't need that one bit. We can unite on that front.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So wait, Philly signed A.J. Brown earlier today?
3 years, 96. Yep.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, were you hoping you'd pick him up in free agency?
No, I wanted him to be a trade option next year.
Oh, okay.
Patriots pick him up.
Well, listen, we talked about when Drake May was drafted, like obviously there was the option to go Marvin Harrison Jr., but first thing I said was, okay, well, now they have their presumed franchise quarterback. Now go get him help. Now second round, go get some receiver help this year and next year. This is a multi-year process in terms of rebuilding the offense. So, at this point, get some help surrounding him, because with all due respect, he's got nothing right now. To work with.
Zero.
No, so we'll see.
Do you guys see any more receivers being taken off the board in the first round tonight?
Oh yeah,
I think my Steelers can go Thomas.
There's going to be a run at the end of the first at the probably 27 to, I don't know who has 27. I know the Bills for sure.
Arizona
28.
has 27. Buffalo's got 28.
Okay, so yeah. I think Washington's going to eventually trade back into the first round to try to get a tackle. I think that 28 all the way to 32 is probably where those wide receivers will start to fall off.
Well, how about this? T. Higgins in requesting a trade, obviously, along with Trey Hendrickson. Do you think they address either of those potential needs? Because I think Higgins is gone, certainly next year, potentially even this year.
Well, with Xavier Worthy still on the board.
I was going to say Worthy's nice.
I don't like Worthy, man. I don't trust his hands. I don't think he's a great – I'm not high on him.
Well, I don't understand how he jumped all of a sudden within the last couple of days.
40
he
time,
jumped
that's it.
A.D. Mitchell. I know this 40 time, but I'm saying A.D. Mitchell was a consensus, guy out of Texas.
Sure.
But now it's Xavier Worthy just because it was 40. I mean,
well,
John Ross ran a good 42, and
the Bengals take Xavier Worthy and they pick John
history
Ross.
often repeats itself. So,
yep.
No, I think realistically, if they're going to try to find a T Higgins replacement, it would probably be more along the lines of a Brian Thomas. Xavier Worthy, for my money, Xavier Worthy is amongst the top 3 route runners in this class. Sure, the hands can lapse a little bit, but realistically, if you get the ball in his hands, he's dynamic. Yeah. Not to the same extent of like a Neighbors, but man, he's fun.
Yeah. Okay, here's the Bengals pick. Dang it! I wanted
Amarius
Amarius Mims.
Amarius Mims. Wow.
Oh, we needed some offensive linemen. Gosh,
I was
darn
about
you,
to say
Cincinnati.
that right before Bryson
Dang
told us to be
it.
quiet, but
No, listen, you can chime in. Feel free to give me your predictions right before. Dang, I really wanted that guy.
Mims is very good. He only has the 8 starts, I believe. So I'm reserved to say raw with this guy because his technique is very good.
That's tremendous.
It's just that he hasn't played enough games. You know what I mean? And he has those ankle concerns, some injury stuff. But when he's on the field, he's great. He has the threshold for offensive tackles is 34-inch arms. This guy has 36-inch arms, so he has extreme length. I think that the sky's the limits for this guy. He could eventually be the best tackle from this class.
Yeah,
he could be. I mean, he's a rock up there.
Without a doubt. The upside is there. He's massive.
Yeah.
This guy, 6'8", 340, and he can move. Like he's got rare athleticism for his size. So you're right. He's an inexperienced player, but again, like he's a little like, I shouldn't say he's a little like him, but like this class is full of guys that are just beasts on the offensive line. And Mims might be the biggest one. Like he's just a monster when he plays.
Yep. No, he is, and he's great in pass in run blocking as well. If you want to throw a bubble screen, he's giving a monster getting out there and laying the wood to a defensive back. So
no defensive back in the NFL is going to want to get
no,
zero.
No, and listen, you know what? Listen, they have, to Cincinnati's credit, I mean, they've at least tried. Some of their draft picks hasn't panned out. You got to protect Joe Burrow. That's an injury-prone quarterback. I think he's the second best in the league. He's the only guy that's beaten Mahomes that's currently still in the league in the playoffs. So you know you can't beat Patrick if your guy's not upright.
He did beat Patrick though.
But no, that's why I said he's the only guy to beat Patrick that's still in the league because Tom's
yeah.
So depending on, by the way, depending on how you feel about Troy Fautanu and what position he plays, I mean, all the tackles pretty much are gone. Like if all high-end tackles are gone, like that, now you're getting into the class of Tyler Guyton and Jordan Morgan and those guys, right? Because like if you consider Fautanu a guard, then
I think he's a tackle. He met the threshold.
I agree. I think he's a tackle too. I think he's the only one left, and because then I mean, some of these guys might go interior too with JPJ and Graham Barton and those guys as well.
Yeah.
So
if I can say this, the last time the Los Angeles Rams had a first-round pick, I was in middle school. So it's been.
You child.
I know. No, you're all in middle school, honestly. I mean, it's been 8 years. But listen, they went all in. Guess what they got? They got a Lombardi to show for it. So
what was it? 2016.
What's that?
2016, Bryson? Is that what
Jared got? Yeah, I was. Yeah,
all right. So I wasn't with my wife yet. So that's something.
There you go.
I was in my first year out of college.
The fun pick right here.
Elderly
for the
gentleman.
Rams.
Old man right here.
Fun pick for the Rams right here would be Jerzon Newton.
Oh, Johnny Newton would be,
Replace Aaron Donald in there at that 3-tech position. You got a guy that's just an absolute monster as a pass rusher.
Anything on the D-line. Anything.
Yeah.
Johnny Newton would be something else too, but Jared Verse, like something on the D-line somewhere is where the Rams got to go in my mind.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, listen, he's fallen more. Mike predicted he would fall, and he's correct. We're now we're now to the playoff teams now. It's teams that made the playoffs a year ago, and he's still up there. So, listen, I hope they go defense so that all the potential offensive options are up there for my Steelers with this next pick because, man, I really wanted Mims with that 20th pick if Penix didn't fall, just once a blue moon. So,
even if they take an offensive guy, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, listen again. Brian Thomas, I think would be a good pick. So, listen, we could use a good solid number 2 opposite Pickens.
It wouldn't surprise me, by the way, if Pittsburgh went corner. I'm just telling you right now, it would not surprise me.
We're weak at that position.
Yeah,
but I'd still like
outside of Joey Porter, you don't really have much at that position going forward. And they're all still there. They're all still there.
Right. So
Joey Porter's also in his second year, or going to be in his second year.
Yeah, right.
So, like, he's still.
Let me make sure. Okay. So,
Bryson, who do you want ultimately with the Steelers pick?
Brian Thomas. I think we need a weapon. I listen. Najee Harris he's coming up the end of his rookie deal. George Pickens obviously listen. Get the ball in his hands. You see what he's capable of. Obviously, you trade Deontay Johnson to the Carolina Panthers. I really thought for a second we might get Tyler Boyd in free agency. It doesn't look like that's really worked out at all. So again, Russell's there, low risk, high reward. You get, only paying him $1 million. You have Justin Fields if that doesn't work out, but get him a nice number of targets, because part of the reason I think the Bears moved on from Justin Fields in favor of Caleb Williams, they had weapons last year, not to the level they do now, but it wasn't like they had nothing around there. If Justin does end up taking that spot, at least give him an opportunity to succeed out there. So that's why I do hope the Rams go defense here.
And I want to follow up with Justin just after this pick.
Okay. Here's the pick. They go Jared Verse here. They go Jared Verse out of FSU. They get some pass rushing help. Aaron Donald retires. So listen, that's some big shoes to fill. Obviously, Aaron was in the interior of that D line, but they go with the guy Mike thought would slip, and he goes to, I think, one of the better run organizations in the NFL. So this could be a potentially good fit for him. But your thoughts on this, Guido?
Yeah, he's an explosive athlete. He's one of these guys that has a really good repertoire. He's a very good combination, by the way, of, like we were talking about with Dallas Turner and with Leatu Latu. Leatu Latu is a very technical pass rusher, not going to overpower you. Dallas Turner's got a lot of speed. Jared Verse is really kind of a good combination of both. He's not a perfect prospect, right? He was my second best player available. I was a little bit more high on him than some were, but really flexible player. He's got a wicked first step. He can really get past tackles, plays with a high motor. He's not a great run defender. At this point in his development, he's not a great run defender, but he's going to go and get after the quarterback. Like that's not a discussion. I think he's going to be a successful pass rusher. So this is a good pick here. Like I said, anything along the defensive line for the Rams was something that they needed to address. Jared Verse, I think, is a really solid player here.
Sure. Yeah, and again, we keep talking about quarterbacks in that division. Obviously, you got Brock Purdy, you got Kyler Murray, and Geno Smith is certainly capable. So you get some help. I think the Rams, the loss of Aaron Donald obviously hurts them pretty bad, but I think the Rams could be a potential NFC champion this year. I think if a couple plays go their way against Detroit, who knows? Maybe they go deep in the playoffs. But I really like what the Rams are putting together right now.
That's a bold take.
I'm not saying they're going. Well, listen, I'm just saying right now. I literally on this show a year ago, Detroit's going to the NFC Championship game. Oh, Bryson, you hot take artist.
I didn't think that take was too hot.
Oh, it was. Oh, you didn't see my social media. It was hot.
Oh, okay.
I'm just telling you
April
right now,
25th, 2024. LA Rams will be in the NFC Championship game. Lock it in.
I didn't say that we're going to be. I'm saying it's a possibility. I'll make a bold prediction by the end of the night.
Jared Verse to Cam Jordan.
Wow,
that's a pretty good comp.
That is pretty serious. Cam Jordan's a little bigger though, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
Jordan's
he's bigger, but Jared Verse can still add some. He's got a good frame on him.
All right, so on the clock now, the 6-time Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers.
By the way, Bryson, before you get into your thing, I think I did a thing to my ESPN stream to where we are much closer in timing now. So I'm no longer on a legitimate 3-minute delay than I was. Now I think I'm on like a few seconds. I think it's just a few. It's like maybe it's like 9 seconds or something that. It's much better.
That helps. 9 seconds ahead or behind?
Behind.
Okay.
I'm behind you.
Listen, I'm not against us taking a corner here. Patrick Peterson was kind of a disaster a year ago. That didn't work at all. Obviously, we had some other guys struggle a year ago for Pittsburgh. But again, like this, we see what the draft is through, was it 15 picks before we got 14 picks, and then the 15th was a defensive player. We see what the NFL's turning into. You need to transition more to offense, and defense is not the Steelers' problem. I'm sorry, it's not. You got the best defensive player in the world, in my estimation, in TJ Watt. You've got excellent linebackers. You added Patrick Queen in free agency. You are good. You got Mike Tomlin. You're good. Yeah, I mean, you win 10 games. I'm on a soapbox now. You won 10 games a year ago with one of the worst quarterback rooms in the National Football League, okay? Say what you want about Russell Wilson. He's better than what they had a year ago. Go get some offense, please.
I will say this, Bryson. 3 of the top 5 players left on my board are corners. 3 of the top 5 players left on my board are corners. My number 11 player is Terrion Arnold. 14 is Quinyon Mitchell. 19 is Kool-Aid McKinstry. So
yeah, I think Pittsburgh's going corner. Just seems like a Mike Tomlin pick, man.
I know, and that's part of what scares me. I love Tomlin, but gosh, we need we really need some help.
This is a deep wide receiver class, though.
It is.
The corners are not going to stretch like the wide receivers.
That's fair.
So, Bryson, what do you like? I want to touch on this because obviously the Steelers didn't pick up Fields' 50-year option.
Yeah.
So, with this being the last year basically for both Fields and Wilson, what are your thoughts? Like, what do you think that they're going to do? Especially if, let's say, Russell Wilson is fine, but he plays every game, and you're not like thrilled on him at the end of the season. But you also didn't see Fields get out there. What do you want them to do?
Go after Dak Prescott. I mean,
he's going to make you switch.
Have a fighting word, DJ.
What's that? What's that?
So he's going to make you switch teams again if he goes to Pittsburgh.
Oh shoot! No, unless I'm a massive Dak fan. You kidding me? Massive Dak. Mike will tell you I'm the biggest Dak fan on planet Earth.
Take him, Bryson. You are not allowed to talk about Dak Prescott, being a Giants fan. How many times did he beat you in a row?
Hey,
12.
All I'm saying is you guys haven't picked yet, and we got Malik Neighbors tonight. So Daniel Jones might have done better for our future.
What anybody says anymore? He's like, dude, I'm on the Neighbors cloud now.
Daniel Jones, the nerd, got a toy today.
Yeah.
How much you like Jaden Daniels?
That dude has some beady eyes, bro. Did you see that press conference with Daniel Jones?
Daniel Jones. He's like Adam Gase.
No, that was
terrible. Oh my God, Adam Gase.
No, that was the worst press conference I've ever seen in my life. That was awful.
That was hilarious.
That was bad.
Daniel Jones dropped a couple notches on my rankings after that press conference. I've always been in his corner fully. I'm wearing his jersey right now, but that press conference was bad. I can't defend that.
No. It was not good at all.
Yeah.
Listen, I want Brian Thomas to this pick. Just if nothing else, just go offense. Just please go offense. It's
Jonathan Brooks, number 20.
I won't be against that. I like
Jonathan Brooks. Bryson, that'd be a reach. Jonathan Brooks in 20 is a reach, dude.
It's better than defense. I'm sorry. It's better than defense. Listen. One of the Raiders took Darius Hayward-Bay, and he was like projected to go in the 7th round. Like, listen, crazier things have happened. Wasn't he a projected 7th rounder, and the Raiders took him like early on? I forget what draft that was, but that was. I remember Mayock saying, "Yeah, I have him going like day 3. Like, what are they doing?"
Yes, but realistically, this is one of the corners or at the last tackle, probably Fontenot. That's good.
I really want Mims, but Fontenot would be a good pick as well. Protect Russell Wilson or Justin
Troy Fontenot. I think honestly, if you're a Cowboy fan, you're praying that Fontenot falls to you.
Yeah,
you're praying or not, because then they'll take somebody else and your heart will be broken. So
yeah, if they pick Tyler Guyton, I'm gonna be
all right. Here's the pick. Well, hang on, actually.
Thanks for the heads up.
Cam Hayward's up there. I think they're doing some Man of the Year things. Shout out to Cam Hayward. So they're gonna talk about how awesome a human being is.
The Cowboys are so gonna pick Tyler Guyton. I can just feel it in my bones.
They're gonna shatter your hearts again.
I can feel it in my bones that they're gonna take Tyler Guyton.
Jerry's just gonna override everything in there. All the research they've done for the last months. He's just gonna go in there and say, "I want this guy."
Okay, okay, guys. I know Cameron Hayward's a good person. They told us that 3 months ago, and I love him as a human being and a player. But I really want to know who we picked.
Wow, you're pulling a Perry Grant.
Get the hell off the stage!
Off the stage!
Off the stage!
Get off the stage, kid!
Get out of here! Retire, dude. No, he's gonna announce.
Where's the hook?
Oh, he's announcing the pick though.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The awesome community work. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Who's going to be helping Russell Wilson?
Bryson hates the kids.
The Michael Jordan meme. Okay, I get it. Who are we picking?
You're a good person. Not saying.
Yes, I get it. I sound like, no offense, Tim, I sound like I'm from Boston.
Shut your mouth.
Finally,
and just
here
say
we
the
go.
damn
Okay, here it
thing.
is. Hey, I love it. Troy Fautanu, love it. Yes, O-line.
Ouch.
We go guard out of Washington.
That one hurts me.
Yeah,
He can play tackle though too.
He can.
That's a tackle. It needs to say guard. A little typo here on my part. I'm too excited. Here. Love it. No, listen. We need some help, especially on the interior. Obviously, again, you want to protect Russell Wilson. You want to give good running holes for Najee Harris. For obviously some of the other guys I got in the backfield there. But this is love this pick. Love this pick for the Steelers. All right, now for the analysis. Now for the sober-minded people. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think he's obviously a very versatile player. Can play inside or out. Great size, 6'4", 317. He's one of these guys who's just a great run blocker overall. Really athletic. Like I said, super versatile. He's one of these things where his arm length is not great and his hand technique is very suspect as far as that's concerned. But he was a productive player at Washington. You can play him pretty much anywhere on the line. This is a good pick. He's a really solid player. Like I said, guard or tackle, you can fit him anywhere.
Yeah, no, listen, and I was blanking on who the other player was, Jalen Warren, who's not really a between the tackles guy, but kind of a change of pace. No, listen, this is a little what Dallas did. Pittsburgh went an offensive lineman a year ago, and so they go back to back. Dallas for a stretch there, they went Ty Smith, Travis Frederick, Zach Martin. So I feel like the Steelers might be going through a very similar phase than maybe getting a quarterback. Obviously next year, obviously Russell doesn't feel like the long-term option. I doubt Fields is either. Given as Tim said, they declined the fifth-year option. So, like this pick, I'm just glad we didn't go defense, man. We don't need defensive help. It's Pittsburgh, it's Mike Tomlin. We're good. We got T.J. Watt, we got Minka, we got Patrick. We're good. We need some serious help offensively, and this will really help us. I think this kid's going to really shine in Pittsburgh. So, Troy Fautanu, well, I'm not going to say you're going to be fitting yourself for a ring. I used to say that with like Jonathan Kuminga in the NBA, and I was right about that. But Troy Fautanu, welcome to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, you guys are a little bit far. You need a quarterback. But
yes, we do.
I will say, out of all the picks tonight, this is one of my favorites. This is a guy that typically is an offensive tackle. You want to get out wide in your kick steps and stay patient. This is a guy that kind of flips that mindset around and on its head. He's aggressive as a offensive tackle, and it shows. And he's one of those guys that'll hit you. Very good at pushing speed rushers up and outside. He handles the power rushers pretty well. Could handle them a little bit better, but overall, this guy's just a clean prospect, and I don't think that you guys are going to have any worries about him being left on an island or asking a guard to come help him.
No question about that. And again, you add a strength, or sorry, a need to a strength. This isn't best player available. This isn't like what the Raiders did with taking Brock Bowers when they could use some offensive line help. I think the Steelers went with a good, solid, high upside, smart pick, especially given what they're at 20. So turns out us sneaking in the playoffs and getting waxed by Buffalo wasn't also bad after all. So it didn't screw up our the guy we ended up getting too bad. So we're in good shape.
Hey, can the Dolphins take my guy Koopa?
I think the Dolphins could possibly take a corner or a center. A center is a sneaky need for them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Connor Williams gone.
Like Graham Barton here would not shock me.
Yep.
I just want to add another pick that I got right from last week. So that's Miami.
Is this where you had him going?
Yeah, just for the fun of seeing Cooper DeJean play or line up across Tyreek Hill in practice.
Oh, wow. That's you want to talk about getting better in practice. It doesn't get much better than that.
Or the Dolphins could have the fastest wide receiver core ever. Waddle, Tyreek Hill,
Worthy,
and Xavier Worthy.
That would be something, yeah.
That'd be nuts. Yeah. I'm not going to rule out edge here either, fellas. I think
they need it.
They could entertain an edge rusher.
Chop Robinson,
right? Like Chop Robinson,
be
Darius
too high,
Robinson, if you really want to go that route as well.
Yeah, I'm not super high on Chop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like
I'm a little lower on
21st.
Chops. Chops my number 26 player, but I'm going to say I wouldn't rule it out. I don't think that, anything on the defensive side of the football is something that they could really entertain, because you got to keep in mind at the beginning of last year, their defense was awful.
Oh, yeah.
So they might look to rectify that and be like, you know what, let's just try to nip that right in the bud and see if we can improve in that area right out of the gate.
If it wasn't minus 15 degrees, if it wasn't minus 15 degrees in Kansas City, I wouldn't be surprised if Kansas City would have torched them. In that playoff game.
They would have. Yeah, well, and then that was the ultimate. I have a segment on my show every Friday during the football season called "If I Were a Bet Man," and that was again, because I'm not a bet man, but that would have been by a mile. And I said it then, certainly I say it now, my favorite bet of the year, like Kansas City -4.5 and -6 weather, the defending champs at home against Tua, like that was easy. That's free money
Easy
that
money.
Vegas is giving you. Easy.
Yeah.
So
no, but that's what I mean. Like if it wasn't minus 15 degrees, that ball would, granted, the ball would have been flying on both sides, but I wouldn't have been surprised if Kansas City ran away with it easily.
Oh, it wouldn't have been flying Miami side, because the one thing Kansas City never got credit for all year, they had a heck of a defense, and that's what really helped them, in that run. Trippy Rubin, I want Mitchell or JPJ in that order. # Cowboys Nation. What do y'all think about those?
I'd be psyched if they got 80 Mitchell.
Yeah,
I'd be psyched.
Oh, I thought he was talking about Quinyon. I'd be even more psyched about Quinyon Mitchell.
They need a receiver badly, really badly.
Yeah, but they also low-key need a cornerback, too.
Corner?
Yeah, Diggs coming off the ACL. Bland, sure. Then you have Jordan Lewis and nobody after that.
But that'd be
Eric
more
Scott
of a depth
Jr.
move than it. Like, to me, I think you need to go more towards the need than you do the depth.
They can play right now with wide receiver. I think that you got Brandon Cooks, you got CeeDee Lamb,
you got
Jalen Tolbert, Turpin.
Tolbert's not good. Tolbert is not good. He can't separate.
He's okay. He can't be any worse than Michael Gallup last year. And you played him a substantial amount.
And I saw
Gallup needs that true number one receiver on the other side in order for him to be successful.
Okay, here's
Miami. CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, well, all right.
Should have kept Amari, man. Should have kept Amari.
They go Chop Robinson. You called it, EJ.
Wow.
You called it.
Chop Robinson, Penn State.
Penn State, not Maryland.
Penn State. I don't know why that said Maryland. Whoops.
Well, he transferred from Maryland.
Yeah.
So
right.
yeah, it's not necessarily wrong, but yeah, he played last year at Penn State.
So y'all, your thoughts? I'll actually ask you first, EJ, because again, Miami, this was definitely a position of need. Your thoughts on them taking Chop Robinson here?
Yeah, Chop Robinson, he was not a first-round grade on my board. I thought that he has all the juice as a good pass rusher, has the bend around the edge. He doesn't finish well in the backfield. He's a non-factor in the run game. He's decent in coverage, actually, whenever he gets asked to drop back in coverage, but he's more of like a headhunter pass rusher. If he can figure out how to be better and stay on his keys in the run game, I think that will help him just be an overall better player that you can lean on more consistently. I don't have any questions about him, getting 5-6 sacks this year just because he's so juiced up. But I don't think he's ever going to be a true, dual player where he's going to be really good at the run and pass.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of get the same feeling with him. He's not a great run defender, and at the same time, he's a bit one-dimensional as a pass rusher. He is a pure speed and power rusher. Yeah, he's going to have a real tough, at least early in his career, he's going to have a real tough time shedding blocks on a consistent level. So
not very nuanced at all.
Right. Yeah. He's a very, but he's fast. Listen, he's athletic and he's quick.
And he can move.
He's a strong kid, but he's a very, like I said, he's a one-dimensional. If you can jump him on his first step, then you kind of got him, right? Like that's kind of where he's at now.
Belichick would have hated
Miami
this
does
guy.
like speed, so that could kind of fit their identity and kind of what they're comfortable doing. So
yeah, I think against good tackles, they're going to be able to completely eliminate this guy from the game because I don't think that he has that counter moves that can, if he's pushing, outside and then come back and with the swim. I just don't see that on film with this guy. He just wins from the outside or just straight bull rush, and even his bull rush leaves some to be desired, in my opinion.
I think that if there's one thing that we agree on, all five of us across the board, and I don't know about you, Tim, I imagine you're kind of lockstep with us. I think we all hate the Philadelphia Eagles here. I really I really hate Philadelphia.
Yeah, I have a grudge against Philly fans too.
Yes,
well,
yeah,
that's the issue.
Literally the worst. The worst.
They're the worst.
The one thing I will give them credit for is their passion for their teams. They know their sports.
They throw snowballs at Santa Claus, Tim.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I hate them. Just because, like, listen, I hate New York, but I at least have respect for their, understanding of the game.
Yeah.
Philly, they understand, but they are just assholes. Oops, excuse me.
Just bad people.
No. You can say that. You can say that 100 straight times if you want. No. Listen, it's that fan base really only Cleveland fans get on my nerves more than Philadelphia.
Oh, please.
I feel like they deserve it more though because they've suffered for so long.
Worse.
But
Cleveland fans are the probably nicest fan base.
Oh,
I
have never.
They know they're gonna lose.
Outside of Mike Guida. Oh, no. Oh, they do not know they're gonna lose. Oh no, you have not had conversations with the way I have with Cleveland fans in the past. Outside of my friend Mike Guido, my good friend Mike Guido, everybody else has been just ruthless, and it just I can barely sleep at night after those mean.
Cavs fans are fine. Browns fans are kind of mean.
Yeah,
they can be a little.
By the way, Orlando won by 38 tonight. So
hello.
Yeah, I know. I'm blaming the bad juju on you.
Hey, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for.
Right. Who does Philly go?
Corner? I mean, I would imagine it's corner, right?
Yeah, I think it has to be.
Yeah, because their defense was not only were they bad last year, I feel like they almost quit in some aspects. Like the last two games against the Giants and Tampa Bay, that was it got to a point where the effort was bad. So some of that is just they need a full blown, and they obviously were able to make a big change at defensive coordinator, but they need an overall just identity change on that side of the ball. And corner does feel like it'd be a good pick. Slay is getting up there in age. Certainly, their secondary as a whole is. So Quinyon Mitchell
has to be right.
Mitchell could be. Listen, any of the four available corners. Right? Any of the four available top corners, whether it's DeJean, Arnold, Mitchell, or Kool-Aid McKinstry, I could see any of those four guys at this spot.
Yep. Yeah, I realistically, I think it's Quinyon or Arnold. Obviously, Philly likes to build their trenches, so possibly a tackle. I don't know who it would be, but Lane Johnson is getting up there in age. Or a center. I mean,
are they taking Tyler Guyton and saving us?
I wish. I don't think it. I think it is the corner. I was just trying to, run through what they typically do. But I realistically, I do think it's the corner. Probably, if it was going off my board, it would be Mitchell.
You said, well, speaking of another Mitchell, Mike, you said you would be hyped if they got AD Mitchell. I think that might be either Thomas or Mitchell's who Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville's absolutely taking a receiver. So, kind of hold your breath there, and we'll see what Philadelphia does.
Right.
But
it has been nice this year not fearing Philly during the draft, because I remember the last couple of years seeing all those picks on the board and they were just taking all those dogs that were falling to them. It was terrible to watch, but I don't feel that same fear this year. And I think they're not going to be a legit contender till Sirianni goes, because
I don't think he's
the
a good
corniest
coach.
person I've seen.
Yeah, not as he corny. His adjustment making is non-existent. Again, his team quit on him at the end of the year. I think that's the biggest indictment you can possibly have of a head coach. But
quit on him at the end of the year, dude. They didn't look right week 1.
No, they didn't. Not against you guys. No, I remember that.
Yeah,
I knew it was bad. Mac Jones was torching them.
Exactly. If it wasn't for the LSU kid.
Okay, they're talking about how the Eagles and the Packers are going to play on Friday in Brazil in week 1.
Jeez.
So dumb.
Hey,
So
as
dumb.
an MMA guy, Brazilian fans are not good fans. You could go watch the last 5 pay-per-views there, and they leave early. They'll throw trash at fighters from other countries. I don't know. I could go on for days, but I won't.
I don't know. I think Sirianni might brawl a fan if that happens.
Probably.
If Sirianni points at a fan, like
bring out that
in
security
America,
guard,
they're gonna
bro.
pull out a gun and point it at him because I bet they don't have security at the gates in Brazil.
They bring their own security. What's that security guard who got kicked out?
Oh, Big Dom.
Big Dom.
Big Dom.
Big
Yeah.
Dom.
Yeah.
That's
Big
when their
Dom.
season fell apart after Big Dom got kicked off.
He was the glue that held everything together.
Yep. He was so not corny that they could put up with Sirianni.
Yeah, he was a real one.
Can we agree these out-of-country games are just dumb?
Yes.
I like
the Mexico City ones, but besides that, I'm not a fan.
I don't love the London one just because the early starts, but all right, here's the pick. Quinyon Mitchell. They go Quinyon Mitchell at corner. That this was a position of need, and they get one of the better ones off the board. So your thoughts on this, Mike Guido?
Yeah, he's one of these sticky man corners that I think is going to fit their system really, really well. He's a little guy. I mean, he's not a big corner by any stretch of the imagination, but he's a quick little corner that can play, I think, both on the outside and really in the slot if you really want to play him in there too. So obviously it fills a need for Philly. They needed help in the secondary. Their pass defense last year was awful. So a big area of need. This is a good pick. Very good pick. And a lot of people had this guy as the number 1 corner in the draft. I had him as the number 2, but very, very solid pick for Philly.
Trippy Rubin, who apparently is a Cowboys fan, he really wanted him because because right before he said, please not Mitchell. And he says, no. So listen, that's another conversation for another day, or really for a couple of picks from now, but I think AD Mitchell will be a good pick for Dallas. But yeah, I mean, listen, for Philadelphia, this is the weakness for them. I knew, I've said on my show all of last season, and again, I sort of just briefly mentioned it, but I have from the jump never been high on Mac Jones since he was in Alabama. But when the guy was, torching Philadelphia, I was like, oh, Mac Jones is back. I'm like, this ain't got nothing to do with Mac Jones. This Eagles defense is trash. And yeah, I mean,
trash.
again,
I said, if it wasn't for the I can't remember his name right now, but the kid from LSU who got caught for betting at LSU.
Yeah.
If he was able to get his second foot down, the Pats would have scored a touchdown on that drive and won the game.
Oh, you're talking about Keyshawn Butte?
Thank you, Booty. Yep.
Okay, back to the pick for the Eagles. This is a dude that can play zone, can play man, up for the task. Didn't have to go to the Senior Bowl. Went there, completely showed out. He didn't have just one, didn't just have two, didn't just have 3 interceptions in the game, but 4 interceptions in the same game this past season. Ball hawk, dude, straight nasty. He was my top corner. That they're showing it on my screen. 4 interceptions, including 2 pick sixes against Northern Illinois. I guess that was the year prior, but still, I mean, this kid is just he's a workout warrior too in the gym. He's one of those guys that's going to come in and compete, and I hate the pick for Philly just because he's so good, man. Yeah. He really is.
Ran a 4.33.
Like
workout warrior.
I mean, it would not have surprised me if he would have went 8th overall to Atlanta. That's how good I think this kid is.
Dang.
Did you see the video of Arthur Blank talking to his GM?
No, what he do?
Oh, the Arthur Blank and his GM were there's a video of it going around. I'm trying to remember the GM's name, but he's explaining to Arthur Blank why they went with Penix and not any other position, because they signed Kirk Cousins for 4 years.
Sure.
And Kirk Cousins is reportedly not thrilled.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't imagine he is thrilled. No. Listen, I'm curious your thoughts on that, because they caught all of us off guard. You and I both, you and I both, Tim, loved Penix coming into this draft. Because of my love for him, because of what Atlanta has, I don't hate the pick. Again, I do think this could potentially be Jordan Love 2.0. But did you think, I thought defense would have been the worst option ever, but do you think so?
Yeah, well, I think their offense was fine, especially with Kirk Cousins as their quarterback. I didn't expect them to go with any of the top 6 quarterbacks on the draft. I was like, they're going to take like Spencer Rattler. They're going to go down, to one of those other guys, because there's no real need for them right now. And the fact that they went with Penix makes me want to re-examine Kirk Cousins' contract to see what, like, by year 3 or the start of year 3, does Atlanta have an out somehow? And if they do, like, money-wise, because again, at the end of the day, it's all about the real money, not the cap money, because that is nonsense. But if Atlanta got Kirk Cousins to get an out, then I wouldn't be surprised if a year or two, Kirk is gone, Penix is in.
Yeah, I mean, and then that could be I promise you, if Kirk knew this, he would not have signed with Atlanta. Like if this,
100%.
So that's the really tough aspect. I know Kirk Cousins, listen, I know he's come off Achilles. He is, I think, 35, 36 years of age. But he was not at this stage of his career. Because people forget, before the injury, Kirk was playing great football. But the Achilles obviously messed everything up. He was not going to Atlanta looking to be somebody's mentor. And so that's the aspect, obviously, I think we're all hitting on it. I think everybody is that it was odd. It was very odd. But listen, we'll see what Atlanta does. The one thing we criticized for years, and listen, now he's our offensive coordinator, but Arthur Smith for is just not getting the balls to the playmakers. Well, you literally can't get the ball to Penix unless he's on the field every single play. So you're not running packages where you say, "Hey, Kirk, you're out. Penix, you're in." So
if you check the Gryd chat, I just sent the link to the video.
Yeah.
It's really interesting with the Penix thing too, because with the Rodgers,
here's the Jacksonville pick. Sorry to cut you off.
You're good.
Yep, they go receiver Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU. I really like this pick for him. Should give Trevor Lawrence a good receiver.
Yeah.
Especially after Calvin Ridley's gone. I really like this pick a lot.
Cowboys, according to my sources, Cowboys have quite a few trade options on the
Oh, really? Okay.
Available to them. We'll see.
But yeah, speaking of the Cowboys, briefly, we were talking about Quinyon Mitchell, but there's a picture. Apparently, Micah Parsons is doing like a draft stream on his podcast, and they showed his reaction to Quinyon Mitchell, and his hand is in his head. So he apparently wanted Quinyon. So, but no, your thoughts on this, Mike Witte? Your thoughts on Brian Thomas Jr. to the Jaguars?
He is fast, and he's a big-time deep threat. I'll tell you that much. This guy is one of those guys that he can beat you off the line of scrimmage, go up and get the football and just burn you on the other end. He's just one of those players where like it could get really scary for him for corners. But he does struggle a little bit with man coverage. He is a little bit one-dimensional as a route runner. He's kind of a deep ball guy. He's not an unbelievable intermediate route runner, but this guy is a burner. He is an absolute burner. So give Trevor Lawrence kind of that deep threat, one of those guys that can take the top off of defense. It's a good pick for them.
Yeah, it is. It is. And especially, again, Anthony Richardson's got targets. You got obviously down the list, CJ Stroud, just got Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell. So, in order to compete for that division, you're going to need to give your star quarterback, who you may extend this offseason, some good weapons, especially on the cheap. So, this is they could go with worse replacements for Calvin Ridley, for sure.
Right.
It's looking like the Cowboys are probably going to trade back. It seems like Stephen Jones is heavily on the phone in the war room right now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, so
the Patriots going to package 34?
I don't know. I mean, none of this is confirmed. It's just from what I'm kind of seeing right now.
I know. Well, there were reports out of New England that there was they were going to try to package 34 to move back in later in the first round, but I doubt it. New England's not going to do that. They're too cheap. They are the ones that believe in the salary cap.
Almost to a fault.
Exactly, and it's freaking ridiculous. I hate it.
They're the Red Sox, right? They're the Red Sox team, except there's no salary cap in baseball, which is what makes it worse. But still,
yeah. No, yeah. Well, and it's funny too
I'm
because
in my boots here, fellas. I'm struggling to keep it together at the moment. My heart is beating out of my chest.
Official report from Michael
Ozzie
Gelkin.
Smith, right?
He says that there is received a lot of trade interest for number 24. They have the option to increase their pick stockpile, and they're seriously considering it right now.
Well, they've got 3.5 minutes to make that decision. Right. So
yeah,
clock's running down. Jerry would be the guy that would let the Packers pick in front of him. Like he would be the guy.
After they just housed you,
that would do that.
I think the Packers do have quite a few picks, so the Packers could possibly even just jump the Cowboys we could see another just one pick ahead kind of a thing, and they take Graham Barton, and the Cowboys get, some third round selection or something like that.
That's true.
By the way, did I tell you guys when I was at Florida, I worked with a guy who is now a scout for the boys.
Oh, for real?
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have any inside intel through this individual?
No. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you.
Yeah, no, you can't wreck that relationship.
Nope.
No, gosh, no. Not on this drive. Which, by the way, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't point out we have a lot of. I think this is our highest rated at one time stream here on the Gryd Network's YouTube channel. So and on Twitter as well. So shout out to everybody who's tuned in, especially tuned in, given the fact that we had to literally switch streams because of some technical issues. So shout out to everybody for sticking on the line on this show, and obviously those who have tuned in, chimed in the comment section. We really appreciate y'all. And if you have not subscribed to the Gryd, do so right now. Subscribe to the Gryd Network and follow all of us on social media: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, the whole bit. We're the best of the business when it comes to content creation. We got some incredible content creators, and under 2 minutes to go for Dallas, and we still have nothing. So, do you have any updates?
They're really trying to work the phone here. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah,
100%. They want to move back. I think. Graham Barton,
official Michael Gelkin right now, 15 seconds ago. Cowboys are trading down from the number 24 pick.
Oh, they are. It's official.
It does not have a. It does not have a team yet.
Okay, so I'll just go ahead and take Dallas off there, since we'll wait and see who it is. I'm trying to think.
Patrick Walker. Okay, all right. So here's the report. Patrick Walker just said the Cowboys are trading down
29
from the 24th pick to the 29 to the Detroit Lions.
Wow.
Wow. Dallas goes down to 29.
I want to see what they got back, but you know what? I think that this was the best case scenario for the Cowboys if they truly were going to pick Tyler Guyton. At least you get some compensation back.
I agree.
We'll see what 100%. They do, but
and EJ, this is like if you get Tyler Guyton at 29, it looks a little better. You get some picks back. This gives them because the Cowboys don't have a 4th round pick, and they only pick at the very, very end of the 5th. So if they can find a way to grab some more picks in the middle there, that'd be great. Pick them an extra 3rd or something like that, even if you get that. I want to see if we can get some reports here on the compensation.
Hey, can I just chime in for a quick second?
Sure.
As we were talking about earlier with Kirk Cousins, I just saw a tweet from _ML Football saying, breaking news, Kirk Cousins and his camp are frustrated and confused by the Falcons picking Michael Penix, as they didn't use that pick to help the team in 24. They are unhappy that they picked Kirk's replacement before he ever played a snap there, per ESPN. So, again,
that's not surprising. I mean, you go there, you get paid all that money. You sign a 4-year contract. This isn't Russell Wilson 1 year, $1 million. This isn't like if the Justin Fields thing shocked Russell Wilson, like, well, again, they signed you 1 year, dude. Like, you were already competing for the starting job as is. So very, very different scenario. The pick is in though for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, it's officially out now. Schefter is reporting it. Rappaport is reporting it. Matt Miller is reporting it. They are all. And now if ESPN has officially just changed it, Detroit is on the clock here, or the pick is in for Detroit here at 24.
Detroit reported that thing first.
I'm telling you right now. You want to talk about
I got the compensation if you want to hear it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Please.
So the Cowboys are getting pick number 29 and 73 overall now, and the Lions are getting 24, and they're getting a 2025 7th round pick.
Love that.
Love it. Getting a 3rd. What'd you say? A 2nd?
3rd and 29.
73. Yep. So just a very early 3rd.
That's pretty good.
I love that.
That crowd of Detroit must have lost their mind when they saw the Detroit traded up.
That's what I was thinking too.
So what is it, EJ? It's a 2025 7.
Yep.
And 24.
Wow.
And 24. Yep.
24. Excuse me.
Oh, 2020. Okay, so a 2024 7 and a 2025 7.
No. Just the 2025.
The 24th overall
pick number 24th overall.
I'm losing my mind here, guys. I'm losing.
How much have you been drinking?
Yeah.
He's having a heart.
Listen, I'm all bamboozled, Tim. This is my problem.
Discombobulated.
By the way, I just want to point this out, and I don't want to offend Tim at all, but Tim's a good guy. I know he doesn't. He knows that I mean it out of love. Tim goes pre-show, gets into the mock draft stream, and says, "Oh, what's up, guys?" Like in the most Boston way possible.
What's up, guys?
What's up, guys?
Oh, that's fantastic.
I love you, Timmy. You're awesome, dude.
You're my guy, Mike.
Look at that. Boston, New York can't get along.
I know. Well, hey, listen, I get along with my rival fans. Just like you and me, Bryson.
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, Mike Guido, right? You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
I'll tell you this: if you were
No,
from
you're the guy,
Montreal,
you're
we'd
the
be
guy.
having a different conversation. But
That's
no.
true.
All right, so the Lions, realistically, Darius Robinson is up there for them. This is a sneaky pick. I mentioned it on the show with Mike and Tim. Marshawn Nealand, you might be surprised by the name, but he is a very Detroit guy, and I've heard that they really like him. Now, I do know that they like Darius Robinson quite a bit too, so I wonder if they were just trying to really jump ahead of Tampa Bay. They could also pick an edge rusher, and that's why I'm thinking.
Terry and Arnold,
I mean,
though?
they need
Arnold too.
Corners. Terry and Arnold, I think, would be a home run here. Any top tier corner for Detroit, that was their weakest position on the field last year.
Easily.
So,
It was. It's what cost them in San Francisco.
I mean, man, oh man, that could be really something.
Yeah, it'd be nice to, obviously you trade up and get number 20. And then that's a guy that falls in its position of need, and it's one of the more productive players in that position in the draft. And again, obviously, they were bad last year, and they got worse. The Cam Sutton situation off the field. Emmanuel Mosley had the injury last year, so they're really, really thin in that position.
Mm-hmm. And again, Terry and Arnold playing under Nick Saban, he's gonna be free as a bird playing for Dan Campbell.
For
You
sure.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's I would love to see that. Because as you know, I'm a big Dan Campbell fan.
I was very, very skeptical at Dan Campbell at first, but man, that guy's easy to root for, and he's a heck of a coach too. Like it's not just he's a motivator. No, he's a great coach.
Yeah,
and he knows how to put his staff together.
Well, that's the thing. Like I that's why I loved him. I was like, you know what? Like I hope he succeeds, and he has. It's been fun to watch, really.
Yeah.
They had to go through it too when they started off. What was it, 0-6 or something like that in his first season?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like 0-10.
Oh my goodness,
10-1. Yeah, it was
wow.
bad.
Everyone was calling for his head at that point. I remember too. They were saying this guy's not an NFL coach. They were comparing him with Nathaniel Hackett, kind of putting them on the same tier. And look at him now, man. He's just a leader of men.
That's
plain
it.
and simple. Put smart people around you and let them do what they're best at.
Here's the pick. They go Terry and Arnold right here. It's a good pick by Detroit.
That's a phenomenal pick.
Good pick right here.
That's a phenomenal pick. Detroit's getting listen, Detroit is getting their stuff together. They really this is a
They are going to compete.
They
for
are
a long time.
They just dramatically improved their weakest position on the field. Like Terry and Arnold, and honestly, and I know you know this too. Terry and Arnold fits their play style like you wouldn't, but he is a physical, tough.
Comes downhill, will hit you. He has that click and close ability that I love in my cornerbacks. He's a guy that doesn't shy away from the physicality. I like the pick as well.
Oh, I love it.
Are you surprised that
Anna corners always pan out? This seems like.
Are you surprised that Dallas traded out of this rather than taking Arnold here?
They don't need him as much as Detroit does.
I'm not at
really.
All, actually.
Not really.
Yeah, they don't need
See,
him.
I was early on CanFan's podcast, and before it was the first pick, and they asked me, "What do you think the Cowboys are going to do?" I said, realistically, I think they're going to trade back. And so, if you guys want to see that, go back, pull it up, pull the receipts on it. But I called it. I just felt like the Cowboys were going to miss out on that first 6 tackles, and then they would want to trade back, get capital, because they did lose the 4th rounder trading for Trey Lance midway through the season last year.
Yeah. And now, and listen, now, like I said, I think this is a great move for both teams. This is one of those like really good moves for both teams, at least in the current state, where like if you're Detroit, you now get, I mean, he was my top corner in the class. He was my number 11 overall player. I love the way he plays the game. So like you're getting a really top tier corner, improving the weakest position on the field for you last year. And if you're Dallas, you're staying in the first round. You're not dropping too far back, and you're picking up a solid early third round pick.
Yeah,
that you didn't have before. Like now it just gives you the ability to be way more flexible. It's a really, really great trade
and
on
not
both
only,
sides.
I mean, not only did you pick up the extra third, but you picked up a way better third than you already had. You were picking at 87. Now you get 73.
That's right.
Like that's a way better third. So, we know the holes that the Cowboys have at linebacker, running back. This could be a sneaky thing with the running back is, hey, we got that extra third now. Now we can afford to go running back in the third round versus feeling like you couldn't necessarily at that spot. So we'll see. And maybe this is the realm of possibility is unlikely, but I'm just saying if the Cowboys feel like they can package some picks early day 2 to come up in that early 30 or late 30 area, and there's a guy like Jordan Morgan still left on the board, depending on what they do at 29.
Yeah, right.
It could be a really solid draft in that case.
Speaking of Jordan Morgan, I think this could be a tackle right here for Green Bay. I mean,
I think this is Graham Barton.
That it could be. Graham Barton is a very Green Bay-ish kind of pick.
Or Cooper DeJean too.
Ooh,
they need corner / safety. I mean, he has safety versatility.
I think the board fell pretty well for Green Bay. This is actually a board that could fit what Green Bay does.
Green Bay's going to get so much better during this draft. They have so many picks, man.
They're young and they're cheap. Like they've got a very, very bright future. Like
I was going to say that they've got to be like in the top 5 or top 3 for NFL teams with the brightest future right now, right? When you consider their age and
the way Jordan Love, if Jordan Love can keep it up and keep getting better year by year, I mean, I can't. What's the phrase there?
The ceiling is the roof. Michael Jordan.
The ceiling
is the roof. That he had a quote years ago. He said the ceiling is the roof.
All right, that's not the. All right, I think it's similar to the one I know, but yeah,
same concept. It's MJ's greatest quote.
Yeah,
you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and the ceiling is the roof.
Well, I bet 100% shots.
I have a better quote for you.
Gretzky.
That's Gretzky. Yeah, Jordan.
I have a better quote for you.
What's that?
Martians pointing the Death Star at the Earth. One shot for humanity. Give me Andre Iguodala.
Top 5 moment in sports talk show history right there.
That was a great
gosh.
I love
that was a great moment. Listen, I've been mocking, by the way, Tyler Guyton to the Packers for a long time. I think this is about where he could go.
Ooh, please save me, Green Bay. Right. Do it.
Listen, I don't want to paint Tyler Guyton as a bad player. Right, like Tyler Guyton's a fine player, but at 24, it was a little dead to me. I wasn't going to be excited about that.
I just don't see it with Tyler Guyton. He has the tools, and maybe he does get coached up, and it's like one of those things where like, what did I not see? But everything on film tells me he is so raw. He's super athletic, yet whenever he gets pulled out, he takes terrible angles, doesn't get to his blocks. In pass protection, his upper half and his lower half are never in sync, it feels like. It's just hand tech isn't great. I don't think that he has a great punch. It's just a lot of things, man. It worries me.
If the Patriots still had Dante Scarnecchia as their O-line coach, who, if you guys know who Dante Scarnecchia is, don't know who he is, you need to look him up. He is arguably the greatest offensive line coach in history. But if the Patriots still had him, then I would love to take Tyler Guyton because I know he would get him right. He would get him on the straight and narrow, know how to take angles left and right. But Dante's not with us anymore. So At least on a staff.
Sure. Well, yeah. Sure. Yeah. But one thing too.
I was thinking another.
He ain't dead. No.
It's like, huh? It's breaking news or something. No. The Packers though. One thing about Green Bay is we talk about all the developed quarterbacks. They go from Favre to Rodgers, and it looks like Jordan Love might be that next guy. I'm not sure there's a franchise outside the Patriots with Scarnecchia that develops offensive linemen better than Green Bay does. I mean, they. All right. Here's the pick. My sister's watching. She's a big Packers fan. Let's see what we got, sis.
Woo. Let's go Packers.
They go Jordan Morgan.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
That hurts me a little bit because I like Jordan Morgan better than Guyton.
Protection for
Apparently
Jordan Love.
the Packers knew the same thing that I knew.
I like this pick.
Oh my God. Cheeseheads are getting laughed at.
Yeah, they should. They're wearing it's Gary, dude.
They're in enemy territory big time.
Yeah. Listen, you're new here, Tim, and you're relatively new, Eric. And I'm not sure if you know this bit, EJ, but anytime the Packers lose, which unfortunately wasn't much late in the season, I wear it. My sister has a cheesehead, and so I wear it, and I wear like these very, very dark shades. And I call it, a buddy of mine, Grady, said, you remind me of like Ozzy Osbourne if you were wearing a cheesehead. So it's cheesehead Ozzy. So there you go. If I had the cheesehead, I'd be doing it right now, but I can't troll this pick. This is a good pick.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
my sister likes it. She likes it. So there you go.
It's not a bad pick. I just
no, it's not. It's a very good pick.
Yeah,
I mean, another thing for the Cowboys is like I thought that Graham Barton was going to go to the Packers. So if they can trade back and still get Graham Barton, I'd be ecstatic with that.
Yeah, it'd be something. That would really be something. I think, truthfully, by the way, Bryson, this is the 25th pick, not 26.
Oh, I apologize. My bad.
Yeah, Morgan's a big dude. He can he can move for his position. So and listen, the Packers have been in search for their tackle after Bakhtiari for a little while now, and it looks like they might have gotten it right here. This is a good player. I mean, he's my 45th overall player. I like Guyton a little bit more than him, but he's a good player.
Yeah.
These tackles, I'm telling you, man, these tackles are going. Like they are.
No, this is a loaded tackle draft. Loaded.
But it's top heavy.
It's dwindling.
It's top heavy.
Quick.
Once you get past Guyton and Morgan.
Suamataia.
I was gonna say, what about Kingsley Suamataia?
Yeah, Suamataia. Like, you're getting a little thin at that position after that, right? Because then you're getting into like the Patrick Pauls and the Karan Amagagies and like those guys where you're like,
Blake Fisher.
Second round, third round guys. So.
Yeah, I was hoping that Morgan would last till day 2 and the Cowboys could possibly pull some type of stunner and trade up early. But he's so flawless in his pass pro technique. He's a 3-year starter. Not the craziest length. That's probably why you saw him drop a little bit more, just because he doesn't have that true prototypical size. But he stonewalls dudes out there. I mean, realistically, he is one of those guys that I have zero questions about him coming into the league. Doesn't have quite the upside where I think that he'll ever be like an all-pro type of a tackle, but a very solid offensive tackle at the next league. And at worst, you could probably kick him inside.
That's who I was hoping Pats at 34 would get, if not a wide receiver.
No, I think I'll go receiver at this point because, well, of course,
I'm saying if not a wide receiver, take Jordan Morgan. But yeah,
sure.
Who do we think the Bucs go with right here?
Yeah, Tampa Bay is interesting because they're
fine at receiver, right?
I would think defense, right? Like I would think somebody
edge rusher possibly, but
who's the edge player that's left? I mean, Darius Robinson. Darius Robinson could be a pick here.
Adiza Isaac is another guy like possibly could sneak up in there.
Yeah, that'd be a reach for me if they went.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I just that's a little high for me. But I mean,
man,
do you guys have a position? Oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say is they lost one of their corners, so this could possibly be a Wiggins spot right here.
Wiggins, Cooper DeJean, Kool-Aid McKinstry is also still on the board as well. So don't be surprised about that. You know who I'm surprised isn't off the board yet is Johnny Newton. I was mocking him at 27, but I was honestly anticipating him going earlier than that.
Johnny Newton, I mean, he didn't get to test at the combine. I think that the injury kind of hurt his stock a little bit. But man, when you watch him on film, even go back a year, 2022, he's popping off the tape.
Yeah, he attacks.
Whenever I was watching Witherspoon, so I mean, he's such a good player, and I think that I had him over Byron Murphy in my DT ranking. So I'm surprised he's still on the board, but man, maybe that just not testing out the combine and stuff like that hurt him a little bit.
It could have. Well, listen, it depends on also where you're going too. Like if you're a Jaden Daniels or a Caleb Williams, you're projected to go obviously literally 1 and 2 in sequence. You don't have as much as to lose, and so it is to a degree a gamble. But I will say, the NBA draft more than the NFL draft. I don't know if you agree with this, Mike, but I think the NBA draft, the combine is almost completely meaningless. I don't think you will learn anything from the combine.
I mean, in the NBA draft, it's pretty meaningless. I don't really take much stock into it. In the NFL, I think it has a lot of meaning to it.
Sure,
but
yeah.
I don't
know how deep you guys go into it, but like where they actually host the combine in Indy, they have so many hospitals around there where they can literally go through with a fine-tooth comb and look at these guys' medical history. That's the biggest thing for these guys is just, I mean, they've literally found, congenital heart defects in players that they had no idea about. So it's one of the biggest things about the combine for the NFL is getting the medicals checked out, getting the length of everybody, the weight, because in football especially, people love to lie about the heights and the weights on their certain players. So
I know
it's important to get the right measurements.
No, 1,000%. Apparently, just last thing on Green Bay. Looks like my sister's one of the only people that actually likes this Packers pick. Packers fans are pretty pissed off on social media about this. I think they're wrong on this.
Yeah, I don't really feel like they had a big hole to fill.
Not really. I mean,
why not protect Jordan?
San Francisco has. I mean, last year I think generally speaking, San Francisco the best roster in the league, and Green Bay probably should have beaten them. I mean, if not for some special teams mistakes and Jordan Love had a couple turnovers, they had multiple opportunities to win that game. But looks like Tampa Bay's pick is about to be announced by the commissioner.
I just scanned their roster for a quick second, and they looked really thin on corner. So I wouldn't be surprised if they went corner.
Tampa Bay. Let's see.
Graham Barton.
Oh, that hurts.
I could use that too.
It's another.
I like that. Get him out of our division.
More guys.
Get him out of our division, baby. Let's go.
I don't want to make this a Cowboys show, but from one of my sources that works for the team is saying the Cowboys phone is alive again for pick 29. So
really
could possibly see another trade back, which would be very interesting, or a trade up if the right player is there. Who knows?
That is called being all in right there, if I do say so myself.
They know the window's closing. They know it.
You think? Yeah, it's slammed shut, I think, at this point.
Graham Barton.
Green Bay slammed that thing all the way shut last year.
You know what? And that's a heck of a move because Tampa's definitely thin on O-line. I mean, they, last year they were good, but Baker, had to get rid of the ball quickly, and that's why it was nice for him to have Mike Evans. And without
and
Mike
extended
Evans,
him too. You need to protect him. He's a pocket guy.
And without Mike Evans, they would have been trash. So it was smart of them to get both. Mike and
real
Baker.
quick. We just got this in. Let me put this up here. Buffalo is trading the 28th pick.
Wow,
they're
trying to get some capital back.
This is from Dov Kleiman. That's all. It just says the Buffalo Bills are trading the 28th overall pick. It doesn't say for who, with whom. Arizona's pick is in, so it doesn't look like this is going to be a situation where it's going to be with the Cardinals. So
Graham Barton is an interesting player because he's pretty darn versatile. Like you can play him inside, you can play him outside. I think he's a little bit more developmental as a guard or a center, but this is one of those players where, it was if it was
here's
Dallas.
Real quick. Here's the Cardinals pick.
Oh wow! Hey,
Darius Robinson from Missouri.
Ow,
love it.
There you go.
Love it.
Yep.
Darius Robinson was an absolute beast at Missouri this year.
Yeah, he was a guy that originally played some 3-tech defensive tackle the first 2 years that he really got on the field there for Missouri. Out of necessity, he kicks out to edge this past year, and I think he had like 9 sacks, had multiple tackles for loss. Just a guy that was very good, and he's a bigger edge, but as far as like bull rushes go, and then the run defense, he's a player, man.
Yeah. Yeah, big time. He's a very versatile defender, right?
Yeah.
Like he can attack both the run and the pass. I think the fact that he played both positions in college really plays well for him in the NFL. They can move him around in a bunch of different positions. And again, Arizona is one of those teams where like you look up and down their defensive line and they have needs all over the place. So, you know, they can put him virtually anywhere they want and have him work there. So it's a great pick. I had him mocked to Arizona early in the second round, but I've also had him mocked here in the first round. It's a great fit. It's a great fit for Arizona.
It is a good fit for Arizona. So again, they go Marvin Harrison Jr. at the 4th pick, which felt, I think, pretty obvious to all of us. Now they go defense, and listen, they have a defensive coach. So listen, that's obviously the side of the ball he specializes on. Philadelphia was, people forget when Jonathan Gannon was the DC Eagles, they, I think, broke the league record for single season sacks. So, you know, this is a guy who's, like you said, Mike, very versatile, can come all over, you know, can move all over the defensive line and can really make an impact for this team. And again, NFC West, a very good quarterback to potentially very productive quarterback, obviously in Purdy, very talented quarterback in Kyler, and a productive one at least in Geno. So, you know, definitely somebody you want to be able to get to the quarterback. The Chiefs are trading with the Bills of all teams. The Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow.
Wanted to get up there to get a wide receiver.
Yep.
Dave, you're worthy.
Well, you know what happened the last time the Chiefs traded a first round pick with the Bills, right?
No.
They got Mahomes.
That was a little nugget right there for us.
That was Buffalo's pick, and Kansas City traded.
Damn.
So,
I at the beginning of the show, or maybe not the beginning, but I mentioned that Washington possibly might be jumping back up into the first round to get a tackle. Apparently, they were in love with Guyton. So maybe the Cowboys are fielding some calls with Washington. They have multiple picks tomorrow where it could make sense for them to jump up to 29 and take that last kind of tackle that they feel good about in the first round, but only time will tell.
That's true.
How much harder do
trade
you guys
within the
think
division?
Yeah, I was going to say, how much harder do you guys think it is to get a deal done on draft night when it's a divisional rival? Because you don't want to help them one bit. So I'm sure you want to give an inch even less when you're on the clock trying to make deals. Do you think it kind of hinders it when it's a divisional opponent?
To me, it depends on who you're doing business with and who it's like. For example, you know, to use the Patriots as an example, Tim, like if the Patriots are doing a bill with the Jets, the Patriots are trying to pull it over the Jets, and the Jets have no freaking clue because they're badly run. The Patriots obviously are very well run.
Were very well run.
I don't know. I think they still. Oh, you're talking about the Jets or the Patriots?
Pats.
I can hear the pain in your
Jets have always been poorly run.
But no, like I agree with that. I agree. It's like you're gonna want to try to with a rival. If you don't have a great relationship, you're gonna want to pull one over. And Bill hated the Jets, so I know what you're saying.
Still does.
Yeah. You made a great point, Bryson. That's
and then that's what's. You know, that's one thing for you know, like, and it's cross sport too. Like the Warriors made that trade with the Minnesota Timberwolves, got Andrew Wiggins, got the pick that ended up being Jonathan Kuminga, and got a title. So like they fleeced Minnesota, and all we had to give up was D'Angelo Russell. So and that was like, again, small organizations do business with dumb organizations. You know, generally speaking, New England did deals with Cleveland, or back in the
Danny Ainge with Brooklyn.
Yeah, exactly. So. You know, again, it's cross sports. So there you go.
That Danny Ainge one was crazy.
That was wild.
As a Laker fan, I respect that. That was crazy.
Hey, listen, you got your
best
players.
And then, of course, he takes Jason Tatum. He convinces the whole world Markelle Fultz is number 1 and trades back to number 3, gets another draft pick, which ended up being Romeo Langford, who's a bum. But, you know, still, he traded back to number 3 and still got his guy in Jason Tatum. Like, how insane is that?
Over 2 guys that have never been all-stars too. Or behind 2 guys that have never been all-stars. Markelle, I love Lonzo, but I think he would have been great.
For sure. Tribute Ruben hashtag Dub Nation. See, we got some Warriors fans in the building. Listen, we're going through the rough period together. Okay, we gotta stick together. But
Steve Kerr to the Spurs. Y'all heard it here first.
Man,
after
stop.
Steph retires, Steve Kerr to the Spurs. Take over for Pop, his mentor. Takes on Wemby. 5 rings. Boom.
Well, they will get 5 rings if it's Steve Kerr and Wemby, and if they add more than that. But
why not?
Steve Kerr will have like 20 rings when he's done.
He's like that. Kerr's like that.
He got 9, I think. He's got 4 at the Warriors, 2 at the Spurs, 3 at the Bulls. So
he probably got one as an assistant, right?
Yeah.
Under Pop.
No, I don't think he was ever an assistant under Pop.
Oh, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
He played.
He was.
He played in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Which that counts. I mean, I count players in the tree like Mike Vrabel with Belichick. I count that. Like I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I wanted Vrabel to be.
Oh, I guarantee you did.
Yeah.
Didn't get Vrabel because he was intimidating. Well, Dan Campbell's intimidating too, okay? That's worked out pretty well. And we knew Vrabel's. We didn't know Campbell.
I don't know. Dan Campbell is a friggin' softie compared to Mike Vrabel. Are you kidding me? the way that Vrabel used to get under Brady's skin, and then even like watching the Dynasty, which sucked, by the way. Like I hated.
The book is good. I'm through the book. The book's pretty good, actually.
It was a Robert Kraft fluff piece.
Oh, 100%. But the way there was that one bit, I think, in 2001, one of the Super Bowl, well, not one of the Super Bowl, but like that early part of the year, Teddy Bruschi talked about how Vrabel said something to Brady, and Bruschi's like, "Whoa, like pump the brakes there, Vrabel," and Vrabel's like, "He's fine." Like that's his one line in the whole dynasty was, "He's fine."
Hilarious. Yeah, they're showing the fact that the Chiefs led the league led the NFL in drops, and were 25th in 20-yard completions, and yet held the Lombardi again because they had a great defense and they have.
So here's the trade. Here's the full trade. So the Bills get 28, 133. I'm sorry. The Chiefs get 28, 133, and 248. And the Chiefs get the Bills get 32, 95, and 221.
I think the Chiefs won that trade.
So the
Bills won that trade.
The Bills won that. I would say the Bills won that trade.
You think so?
The Bills picked up a third and an earlier 7th and gave up a 4th and a deep 7th.
I mean, it depends on who Kansas City takes here. Like,
true, but still,
because Kansas City's going to go O-line or receiver to me.
I think they might go Worthy. I just feel it in my bones. No logic behind it, but I could just see these guys taking Worthy right now.
Speed with Mahomes, deep threat.
It does. It makes
They thought Tony was going to be that guy. It didn't work, so maybe.
They were complaining about, or the Chiefs weren't, but the media was saying the Chiefs receivers weren't holding up their end of the bargain last year. So, I mean, why not bring in another guy?
But again, if Xavier Worthy's got, mediocre hands, like
that's the problem.
Like that, like what are you doing? You're just trading, you're keeping the same problem while picking up a little speed. Say what?
That he's got better hands than Kadarius Toney. I'll tell you that.
He does.
Hey,
Screw that guy. Screw that guy.
Hey, that's my guy.
He's a joke
he's
like
a
Tony.
Gator, so come on.
He's really balled in the NFL. Let's see. We got a draft. Looks like they're going to make the pick right here. Where's the chimes? There they are. They're doing. I don't know if this is some charity thing. Looks like a kid right there. Is the pick.
You're not messing with me tonight.
I didn't have an issue. I didn't say anything. It
was the
tone. Just your tone. What are they doing? Some charity thing?
Come on, kid, move it.
Steelers ain't winning jack because I got 2 Man of the Year winners. Bums.
How about this?
Alfred wasn't here to do it this year, so
I know.
You had to take his spot.
How do you feel about Jackson Powers Johnson for the Cowboys?
I would like it way more than Tyler Guyton, but I feel like it's Guyton. Yeah, I think that. Here's the deal:
okay, they're announcing the trade. Xavier Worthy. Oh man.
There it is.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm kind of skeptical about this kid. You sort of brought up earlier, or one of you brought up about he doesn't have great hands, and that is a concern. But look, if there's anybody on planet Earth that can make Xavier Worthy work, if there's any two people, is Coach Andy Reid and it is Patrick Mahomes. He could not have asked to land in a better spot. And by the way, Hollywood Brown's there, so they were already better at receiver. I don't love it, but because of where, like, if he was going to the Titans or something, I'd be more skeptical. But going to Kansas City, best offensive coach in the league, best quarterback in the league, that's pretty good.
Hello.
When Hollywood Brown was coming out, I had him as the best receiver in that draft. But after watching him, like, I don't know. I'm not huge
He's
on
better than what
Hollywood
they had
Brown
last year, though.
Yeah, true, but not by much.
I don't know. He's better than Rashee Rice.
Yeah, he ate me for fantasy, or he ate for me in fantasy when he was healthy. But
Apologize, guys. This is actually the 28th pick. That's the 29. There's the 28th pick.
I should have live bet that thing. Dang.
Yeah, you were all over that, Eric.
Just my bones, feeling in my bones. No logic.
What do you feel in your bones for Dallas?
Something bad, hopefully.
You know anything about Jerry Jones?
I don't lock in on Dallas very much.
No, listen, man. It's.
Hey, listen. I'm going to say this though. I think if Dallas takes Tyler Guyton here, which I kind of have a feeling about, I would much rather have them take Tyler Guyton here, picked up an extra third, and then continue to improve with an extra quality pick than at 24 with no picks. Like, I would, Tyler Guyton at 29 is not a bad pick.
Yeah.
I know EJ. I know.
It's not
EJ
a good
doesn't
pick.
like him. I'm
It's not a good
huge-
pick in my opinion, but that's just what I saw on film. And here's the thing: is Tyler Smith. A lot of people were skeptical about that. A lot of people were skeptical about the Travis Frederick thing. There's been numerous times where the Cowboys have selected an offensive tackle where people were skeptical about it, and they turn out to be all pros. I mean, and I'm not even lying about that. Tyler Smith was an all pro last year. Travis Frederick has been an all-pro. Zach Martin, Tyron Smith. I mean, you go down the line.
They have a way with offensive linemen. They just do.
It's one of those things, man. You've got to trust the spot. It's kind of like we were just talking about Worthy. Like, man, would he be a great fit anywhere? Probably not. But you pair him with Mahomes, you feel great about it. Same thing with Tyler. I mean, yeah, Tyler Guyton is just. I don't love it just based on the film, but you get him in there and you possibly have something where you can build on in the future. I think that their hand has been shown, regardless of what they want you to think. They've always been offensive tackle in the first round, in my opinion, because of the center stretch more, or you could take a guard and you can shift him into center. So I think seeing all of those tackles fly off the board early, and then really Guyton being the last one is.
Here's the pick.
Ooh, moment of truth right here.
Tyler Guyton. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. I am. I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it. I'll say I'm fine with it just because of the track record of the Cowboys picking good offensive linemen.
They do, and there's some Tyron Smith gone, so that was definitely a position of need. There's a lot of positions of need in the Cowboys. That was certainly one of them, though. And listen, I don't think there's a single player on the football team more valuable other than the quarterback than the left tackle. Because ask the Cincinnati Bengals. So
unfortunately, he's a right tackle.
Well, he's a right. Okay, well there you go. But what could they move?
Their plan is to shift him to left. Trust me. But yeah, he played right tackle for TCU, and I will say he started I think like 3 games maybe for TCU at right tackle, but then when he went to Oklahoma, he was a right tackle at Oklahoma. Played a couple games at TCU at left.
Yeah, I listen. I think he'll be fine. I mean, the thing about Tyler Guyton for me is that, like, I think he's a not as good version of Amarius Mims. Like that's kind of how I see him. Is he's an unbelievably big guy, 6'8", 320, right? He's super athletic. You can't deny that he's athletic.
He is
strong as hell, can really get into you. He struggles a little bit with speed on the outside. But again, I think as he gains more experience, he'll get a little bit better with that. I actually, listen, especially because Dallas traded back and they made a smart move in trusting their gut. I think this is a good pick. I really do. Listen, I was not a huge Tyler Guyton fan for a lot of this process, but given how the board fell, and like EJ said, with the track record that they have with these developmental offensive linemen, I like it. I think it makes sense for me. And especially keep this in mind too, Tyler Smith himself has said, listen, if I had my choice, I would stay at guard. He feels comfortable.
He's more natural there.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you can find, and again, like he's got the size to do it, right? I mean, there's at least some, at least I think that there's pretty serious upside with him. He's a project for me.
No, like I said, the upside is definitely there. He's got all the length. He's got all the tools. He's super athletic. You just got to get him coached up. I do not trust Mike Solari, the offensive line coach for the Cowboys. I just don't. But he hasn't been the same coach that's developed the other guys, mind you. Last year was a crap show. They couldn't run block. And so I'm a little bit skeptical about the pick, but it's a hell of a lot better at 29 than 24, and you pick up the extra third rounder. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
You do. Let me listen. If you get your guy, you got extra compensation for him.
Yeah,
but no,
it's certainly not sexy. That's the thing. Is like I think we're kind of waiting for, a lot of Cowboy fans are waiting for the sexy in these drafts. This is a couple drafts in a row where it's just like, all right, it's a little meat and potatoes.
Three straight drafts, because they went Tyler Smith, Mozzie Smith, and now Tyler Guyton. So
yeah, right.
And listen, their last quote unquote sexy pick worked out pretty well, Micah Parsons. So I think Dallas, they got to go receiver though at some point in the draft. I mean, I've got to be in the minority in this, or maybe I'm on an island on this. Is that it's CD or bust in Dallas. If God forbid CD Lamb were to go down, you're screwed. I mean, Jake Ferguson's good, but you don't have the running game, and you improved your offensive line.
I think Brandon Cooks came on towards the end of the season, middle half.
He's older and he's on his fifth team.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that. He's a true alpha number one, but he's a good number two. I'll say that. I know that a lot of other teams would be ecstatic to have him on their roster, but
he's no bum. But
mind you, sure, you got Brandon Cooks, CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, Tolbert should have a step up this season. His rookie season was garbage. This past season, he made some plays.
Here's Baltimore's pick. Screw the Ravens. Nate Wiggins. Oh, that's a good pick. Nate Wiggins.
Yeah.
I like that pick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Corner is
solid. That's a Baltimore Ravens pick.
Corner is solid here.
Yeah, they needed corner help.
There you go.
That's a solid pick. He's a thin kid. 6'1.5", and he's 170 pounds soaking wet. He's a really, really thin corner, but he plays with a mean streak. He's one of these guys that just competes on every single play. And he's a smart player. You know what I mean? I wish for his size,
holy crap,
Nate Wiggins, is that I wish for a guy who's as thin as he is, I wish he was a little faster. I just wish he was a little bit quicker on his feet. But
you don't think he's fast? I think he was the fastest corner at the combine, 4.2.
I'm more thinking lateral speed, right? Like I think in terms of keeping with guys on the line, I want to see him adjust a little bit better. So, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think my biggest problem with him is he kind of has that Trey Diggs gambler mentality a little bit, where he's willing to jump some routes. But other than that, I mean, the size doesn't necessarily worry me because I feel like he just knew he had a chance of running 4.2 at the combine, so he lost the weight so he could. Yeah. That stuff, like, you don't think it makes a difference, but between a 4-2 and a 4-4 corner, it makes a huge difference for an NFL team, even 4-3 to 4-2. I mean, so NFL execs want to find the fastest corners with the makeup speed in case they do get burned, because you think about it as a defensive player, you never really know what the other dude across from you is going to do. Now you can possibly get some tells just by how they align themselves in the play and how they set themselves up and what they're kind of doing, but you never truly know 100%. So it's important to have that makeup speed to kind of close the gap on the offensive knowledge of, hey, this is the play we're going to run.
We've talked about teams being the offensive line side of the draft being pretty top heavy. Well, I think that represents the San Francisco 49ers pretty well. Like, this feels like a little, obviously they haven't won anything, but sort of last dances for San Francisco as far as their current players. Ayuk is probably gone. They made some coaching changes this offseason. They're having to pay guys like Bosa, like McCaffrey. They're not able to pay everybody. So do you go for depth? Do you go for do you go for guys to potentially replace somebody who could be leaving? Do you go receiver here? Do you go A.D. Mitchell if you're San Francisco? Anybody?
Why would you go receiver?
Because Ayuk's leaving.
If you trade Ayuk, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And Debo, kind of an injury concern. So,
what a sneaky pick for? I think Cooper DeJean would be interesting for the Niners, or Kool-Aid McKinstry as well. I mean, would not be surprising if he went before Cooper.
It could. And again, like that's a need, and that was although. They're getting back Hufanga, who's one of my favorite players in the league because he reminds me so much of Troy Polamalu. But they're getting back Hufanga next year, often I think an Achilles surgery. So that's a little bit of a concern, but that's more on the obviously he's a safety on the back end of their defense. But yeah, adding a corner, playing you go against DK Metcalf, you're going to be going against Marvin Harrison Jr. That's a division full. Obviously Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. That's division's got some really really elite receiver play. So Cooper DeJean be a good pick, but I wouldn't be against a wide receiver pick just because you are going to lose Ayuk. And listen, there's going to come a point in time where you're going to have to make a decision on Brock Purdy, and my guess is making the money he's making right now, he's not going to want to take another discount. So this is an interesting spot for San Francisco.
100%.
Yeah, by the way, apparently Micah Parsons on Bleacher Report about Tyler Guyton at 29, he said, "I'm not mad at the pick. We need more depth at left tackle. It's very interesting. It's not a bad pick. I'm never going to question Will McClay." However, I do want to, because that doesn't sound very enthusiastic, but here's the
comment in general.
He was, do you remember how much Micah Parsons was pounding his chest for Mozzie Smith last year?
Yeah.
So shows how much Micah Parsons knows.
No, you're not going to trust him to run your scouting department.
No.
Yeah.
No. I will trust Will McClay, though.
I'm hoping that I'm not right 2 years in a row, because I hated the Mozzie Smith pick last year, and it's gonna hurt if I'm more right about this one too.
How'd you feel about Tyler Smith the year before?
Tyler Smith, I thought it was a reach, but I will say with Tyler Smith, at least he could block extremely well. Like, I didn't have questions about him being a run blocking, mauling guy. And then you take that and you say, okay, we're going to take this guy and we're going to make him a guard. I'd be like, okay, cool. Yeah, I can see that. Now, with Guyton, I just don't see the pass pro or the run blocking where it's, it makes me excited. But like I said, he's kind of a blank canvas. And here's a guy, he went to the Senior Bowl. He got some coaching from those coaches up there at the Senior Bowl as well. And you could see that he was taking it and trying to apply it as well at the Senior Bowl. So he seems like a coachable kid. I really just want to see him get into an NFL offense. And I mean, he's going to be playing alongside Tyler Smith, that's a luxury in itself. Because, you got one of the better guards right next to you who could possibly help you out on those inside moves. You really just got to get out on your kick steps and watch the outside pass rushers. So we'll see.
Yeah, and again, like you guys mentioned, Dallas really hasn't missed in the last decade and a half. They haven't really missed at all on offensive linemen. And I think that was one of the few wake-up calls that Jerry Jones has had when his guy Tony Romo was getting the crap beat out of him year after year. It's like, hey, this is quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. We know that what comes with being that, and it doesn't mean anything if you're not on the field. And obviously, Romo dealt with some injuries, and so we'll see what Dallas is able to do in terms of developing him. But it looks like San Francisco is about to have their pick announced by the commissioner. It looks like he's about to make his way to the stage. Listen, I almost did choose the Niners last year when I was choosing my teams, and to a degree, I'm actually glad I didn't, because I would have had my heart ripped out of my chest 2 months ago. So. But they're fellow Warriors fans, though, so
would have been easier.
Ricky Pearsall.
Wow.
That's your guy. Tim.
That's my guy.
I told you they go receiver, though.
Yeah. You were right. I can't believe. I mean, listen, I love Ricky. He had that MJ-esque, jump man catch last season. I think it's a good pick. I don't think he's going to do exactly what Ayuk did. I think he's a very different receiver from Ayuk. So I'm surprised they went.
He's a little like Debo, though.
He's more.
He's got some Debo to him. I mean,
absolutely.
He's one of these guys that can just like play anywhere. You can line this guy up in so many different ways, and it's like this is a Kyle Shanahan player.
Guy, another gadget.
Like to me, he's a mid-second round pick for me, but like he just, I don't know.
What a catch!
I don't know. It makes a lot of sense for the Niners. It really does.
I don't disagree. I mean, what? Yeah, right. Exactly. This catch.
Because he's not a vertical receiver. He's not one of these guys that's going to beat you over the top. You know what I mean? He's
shifty.
Right. Exactly.
He's
not to cut you off, but we have one more trade to end the night. Last trade. Buffalo's trading back again, and Carolina's getting into the first round.
Wow.
The Panthers are moving up one spot.
Yeah.
Mitchell right here, I think.
But no, I mean, listen, I love Ricky. Like you're right. He's not going to take the top off, but man, is he crisp in his routes? He can move. He can shift. He is literally a prototypical Patriot receiver to just to go with the history, right, with Edelman and Welker. But I listen. I think it's a good pick. I agree with you, Mike. I thought he would have been, early mid-second rounder. But hey. You know what? I'm excited to see what he does out in, the Bay Area.
And he fits. He's a Kyle Shanahan player, right? He's a do-it-all type of receiver. Again, like you mentioned with Debo. So it's Christian McCaffrey to a degree. So,
but how many guys are you gonna have that are like that on the same on your team?
Yeah, they got.
Well, I think you're anticipating one or both. Because I read a report today saying they're not against trading Debo.
Ooh,
they might move off of him before his trade value comes down.
Wow.
So they're just getting his replacement. They're certainly getting Ayuk's replacement. They might be getting Debo's replacement as well. So maybe trying to rebuild the wide receiving core through draft picks, get more cheap on that side because
interesting.
Interesting pick though. I figured they go receiver just because again there's one guy I think is definitely gone, and one guy I crossed my fingers man up a Steeler in Brandon Ayuk, and the other guy who knows. Especially again because of how Debo plays, because of his injury history. We keep quoting the Patriots, but because they ran the league for 20 years, Belichick was the king, and he ran out of steam there at the end. He'd move guys like, bro, why'd you move Tom Brady? But he was good at moving off guys like, what do you? Oh, he's a bum. Okay, it's a good move, Bill.
Well, yeah, and listen, that's the one thing. As much as I blame Belichick for wanting to move off Brady, at the end of the day, no quarterback in his 40s has ever come close to what Brady did in his 40s. Brady had a third career in his 40s. That's sure. So again, Belichick was always I'm gonna get rid of you a year early. And you know what?
I think the only thing is because they've moved off receivers in the past and other positions. Other positions are much easier replaceable than the quarterback position is. And plus too, and I said on my show at the time, in 2019 was that this isn't Tom. The receiving core is abysmal. I mean, it was
N'Keal Harry.
It was Mohamed Sanu. I mean, it was Gunnar Olszewski who was fumbling punts for my Steelers this past year. I mean, what do you? And then Tom's like, you're shocked that Tom wants to go with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and Gronk comes back. So, there you go. But
I cannot find the compensation for the
Panthers?
the Bills Panthers trade yet.
Yeah, I just got it. It's the Panthers got the 32nd overall and a 24 6 rounder, and the Bills got the 33rd overall pick and a 24 5th rounder.
Man, people love to trade with the Panthers. They're one of those. They're one of those teams. Time. Yeah, they're one of those teams that we were talking about earlier. Yeah. Shouts Trippy Rubin, man. Shout out to Trippy Rubin.
That's a real one right there. That's a real one. The Gryd. That's big time. So Carolina is, again, obviously Chicago used Carolina's pick to get Caleb Williams, but we didn't necessarily think we'd see them in the first round, but we'll see what they do here. They could go anything.
Mitchell or Jackson Powers Johnson, I think, are guys that you can look at here.
You could do that.
I would, for them, I would prefer AD Mitchell just because that receiving core is
it's terrible.
You're right. All right, fellas, here's the last pick of the first round, or last pick of the show. What do we got, Roger Goodell? So he's announcing the trade.
And you thought doing a 2-round mock draft was going to take a long time.
It's true.
Xavier
Legette.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's not surprising.
You wanted him, didn't you, Tim?
I did.
What are your thoughts, Mike?
Good pick. I mean, listen, they needed receivers. And look, it really just kind of depends on who you like at this point here. Look, this next group of receivers, I mean, I like A.D. Mitchell, I think, more in the group above this. But A.D. Mitchell, Troy Franklin, Keon Coleman, like they were all, Xavier Legette, like they were kind of all in the same sort of tier for me. Like I said, A.D. Mitchell, I think, was a little bit higher for me. But really, really good after the catch. Really solid athlete. He's got super high upside. He's not really a terrific route runner, but he's one of these guys where he's just like, if you get him the ball in space, he can make plays. This is a nice player.
And it fills a need, which there are many. But go ahead, EJ.
I was just going to say, a guy that didn't really pop off until his last year. I've mentioned this in some of my shows, but lost both of his parents before he even graduated high school, so he's been through some stuff in his life, but that didn't let him get him down. He was there at South Carolina for a long time, and I mean, he grew up around that area as well. So he was there for quite a while, and he finally got his chance this past year and just popped off. Had, I think, 1,200 yards, 6-7 touchdowns, something like that. And overall, man, he was just, you throw it up to this guy, he's going to come down with it. He was just I don't want to say he's like Deebo Samuel, but he's built in that same way. He's very muscular, very fast, can run past guys, but he's also very physical. He's solid in the run blocking department as well. Does not surprise me that this guy went before A.D. Mitchell.
That's fair. And again, obviously, he's played with a productive quarterback in Spencer Rattler. We'll see where he ends up potentially tomorrow on day 2. So to close out day 1, and Eric had a good idea, like we do biggest winners and losers. So I'll start. We need to go across the board. So I'll start with you, Mike Guido. You've been here with me since the start of the show. Start of the first show, at least the first stream. Your thoughts on the draft? Do you have the biggest winner, biggest loser thus far? Obviously, we have literally a couple hundred more picks to go. But your thoughts thus far?
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as winners are concerned, I mean, I think that Chicago did really, really well. Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze is a really nice couple of gets for 2 picks in the top 10. I really like what Detroit did. I think that them trading up to get Terrion Arnold is a phenomenal get. That's a really, really great pick. They needed to fortify their secondary. So I love that. Kansas City made a great move getting Xavier Worthy at the end of the first round. Losers for me. I mean, I think what Atlanta did with Michael Penix is very confusing, right? Like, they just signed Kirk Cousins. Michael Penix is an older quarterback, right? Like, it really kind of creates confusion in that building. Listen, if they liked Penix that much, then I didn't really see a point in them signing Kirk Cousins. So that was a little confusing to me. And the other part of it, really, for me, the other loser, I wouldn't even really call them a loser, but I would more call them like one of these other confusing picks was Brock Bowers to the Raiders. Like that kind of really befuddled me a little bit. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, listen, you just drafted Michael Mayer last year. And yes, they're two different kinds of players, but they must have some sort of plan for him to play him all over the field. So that's what I would say for me.
Yeah, I think there's that was. I think Brock Bowers would have been a good fit with potentially the Indianapolis Colts. I think he would have worked there, obviously, given what they're trying to do with Anthony Richardson. But yeah, for Arizona, listen, you strengthen one side of the football where you've got a coach that specializes in that side of the ball, Jonathan Gannon. That's where. Wait, Terry, you mentioned Terry Arnold earlier.
Yeah.
Terry Arnold, Detroit. Yeah, my bad. Sorry, I was thinking about Arizona taking a defensive lineman. No, I was. You talk about. Detroit, obviously, that was by far their biggest weakness. It's what cost them last season if you give them an average defense, I think they beat San Francisco in the NFC title game with a 17-point halftime lead. So, if they're able to fix that side of the ball, they have a solid defensive coordinator over there. And obviously, we know Ben Johnson running the offense has done a fantastic job. They can be a solid contender and obviously Atlanta as well. An interesting pick. I think it's going to work long-term with Penix. We'll see what happens, but them doing it with Kirk Cousins is nonetheless quite confusing. I will say this just super quick. This Mike Silver reports, and this is what I've been hearing. Mike Silver says that the 49ers are more likely to trade Debo over Ayuk. So that to me feels like it's why they went Pearsall at 31.
Right here. So, bring him here.
Well, to be a pretty darn.
I will trade 34 for Debo over Ayuk.
Yeah, listen, that'd be a good fit in New England, and we know that they need weapons for Drake May. So for you, EJ, winners, losers, who do you got tonight?
I think the biggest winner for me is the Eagles getting Quinyon Mitchell, my number one corner, just staying pat. That's just the rich get richer. They got Jalen Carter last year, and it seems like they got the best corner for me. Time will tell. They haven't been a great corner drafting team in the past, so hopefully not for Quinyon Mitchell's sake, but for everybody else in the NFC East, hopefully that guy's a bust.
100%.
But realistically, I like the Pittsburgh Steelers getting Troy Fontenot. He was my number 3 offensive tackle. So to get him there was good value in my opinion. One of the bigger losers, like Mike said, I thought the Raiders pick was just why. Didn't really understand it. For me, I mean, you picked Michael Mayer last year and you re-up with the Brock Bowers. And then, Atlanta and Denver, it's like, I know you got to reach for your quarterback and you got to kind of shoot for the stars, but I didn't have nowhere close to a first-round grade on either of those guys, so it was just a little bit rich for my blood.
That's fair, and I think there is the Bowers pick was odd, and like you said, Philadelphia being able to, again, get a position of need at the cornerback position will certainly help them. Eric, winners, losers tonight, what do you got?
My winner, pretty obvious. It's got to be Big Blue, the G-Man. We got Malik Neighbors at 6th overall. People said he was the second best player in the whole draft. I personally had him above Marvin Harrison Jr. on my rankings, and we got him later than Marvin in the draft. So I'm ecstatic. A little biased, obviously, but we've seen how these big-time receivers taken high in the draft can turn franchises around. Hopefully Daniel Jones can put the ball within a somewhat close radius of Malik so he can go ball out, and we'll be having a great year.
I don't go ahead. Sorry, my bad. Your losers?
My loser, Minnesota. Kind of out there. I know they have to take a quarterback. Their quarterback room's pretty empty right now, but they gave up a 3rd rounder to New York to move up one spot? Unless I'm wrong on that. So they moved up one spot. It's not like New York was going to take a quarterback. So, I don't know. It seems pretty pointless. And I'm just not a big J.J. McCarthy guy. So, I don't think he's going to pan out to be much. I think the other 5 quarterbacks that got selected tonight were much better than McCarthy. I compared McCarthy to AJ McCarron, not play style wise, but just had it very easy in college, had a great team around him, and we didn't really get to see him tested too much. So he could be good, but we don't really know yet.
I will say, real quick,
DJ.
Sometimes it's not always about jumping ahead of the team that's on the clock. It's making the deal better so another team doesn't get that deal to get up and get your player. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if another team was trying to come up for JJ McCarthy, then the Vikings had to sweeten the pot so that they could go get that guy.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, like you mentioned, the obviously the trade and trying to put yourself in the best position possible. Finally, to you, Tim, biggest winners, biggest losers of this draft.
Well, I think obviously Chicago Bears not only being able to get arguably the most talented quarterback in this draft, and yes, you know, I have my things with him.
Your
Mike
objective.
and I, you and I, Mike, agree on his off the field issues.
Yeah,
but arguably the most talented guy, and pair him with a Rome Odunze as well as getting Keenan Allen. But also too, you know what? I know it's easy to say this, but I like the Chargers and taking Joe Alt. I mean, to Jim Harbaugh, that's his style. He loves the guy, you know, the big offensive lineman. And to give Herbert somebody who is a massive body, very athletic, you know, to protect him, I like it. I think that's, you know, going to be an underrated pick in this draft. As for my losers, obviously, again, just to reiterate, the Raiders, what are you doing taking Brock Bowers? Unless they want to have like a 2 tight end system like the New England Patriots did in 2010, 2011 with Hernandez and Gronk. But again, I feel like Meyer and Bowers are both pass catchers, not blockers. So also too, I don't like Bo Nix going to Denver. I mean, I know I had that pick. I trust me. I know I made that pick.
He did it in the mock, but he hates it.
I did it in the mock, but I'm just saying. Well, again, because you're literally having, you got Zach Wilson, and now you have Bo Nix, who I hated Bo Nix in Auburn, and then he went to a new system and played in the Pac-12, which again, we all know the Pac-12 doesn't play defense. So the fact that, I feel like they have the same friggin' guy in Zach Wilson and Bo Nix. And I hopefully that, you know, Sean Payton can at least get to one of them, you know, change the system for one of them that would work. But I don't know. I don't know if they're due for success in the NFL, to be honest with you.
I think Zach Wilson at this point is pretty much a lost cause. He's damaged goods. But listen, again, Bo Nix and JJ McCarthy, I like Nix more than McCarthy, but I think both guys, they went to the best situation they could have possibly been to, given, you know, the spot they were drafted, right? Yeah. You get Bo Nix going to Sean Payton, who's, again, a quarterback whisperer, and you get JJ McCarthy going to a situation with, I would argue, 2 true number 1 wide receivers, given what we saw from Jordan Addison last year, and we obviously know what Justin Jefferson's capable of with Hawkinson, with Aaron Jones, with an improving defense. I'm not saying the Vikings are going to win the division or anything, but they can be competitive. They can beat, you know, Detroit, Green Bay, or Chicago any given Sunday. So you actually stole my winner, Tim, with Chicago, not just getting Caleb Williams, but getting Rome Odunze. You already have Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. I mean, that's, again, like there's a level, actually, I think, of pressure on Caleb where, like, this isn't, again, as we talked about earlier, this isn't Andrew Luck going to awful Indianapolis or Trevor Lawrence going to garbage Jacksonville. I get the Bears haven't won much in a while, and they've never had, shockingly, a 4,000-yard passer or a 30-touchdown guy. But DJ Moore, you got Keenan Allen, you got Rome Odunze now from Washington. You've got a good offensive line, Darnell Wright, who you took out of Tennessee a year ago. You've got, obviously, DeAndre Swift, an improving defense. Like, this is I'm not saying the Bears should win the division.
They're win now mode. They've got to be in win now mode right now.
Not necessarily win now, but the pieces they have, I think, are capable. Once Detroit, if Detroit golfs them last year of his deal, we'll see what they decide to do there. This could be a Chicago, Green Bay, like, tug of war for the NFC North for the next 5 to 10 years. So that's gonna be fun to watch. My biggest losers of the draft are a team that didn't make a selection. That's the Buffalo Bills. Like, you needed a receiver. You trade back with Kansas City, who takes a receiver. You trade back Carolina has your pick, they also take a receiver. So unless Buffalo's pretty confident in terms of the guy that they want, obviously the Bills do get the first pick tomorrow, really East Coast today to start the second round. They better really, like, again, if it's AD Mitchell, if it's somebody else, JCP, JCP is that JPJ. My bad, I butchered the initials, but yeah, one of those guys. If they fall to Buffalo and this was their master plan all along and they get picks, kudos. But up until that point, strange back-to-back trades by the Bills. So that's what I've got. So anybody have any last thoughts before we get out of here? Because definitely had a blast tonight doing this draft show.
Yeah, just thank you to everybody for watching. It's
absolutely
my last thoughts right there.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I know EJ is a little skeptical on Guyton. I know that, but listen, I obviously we don't want to make this a Cowboy show, and I don't think that we did. I think we played it pretty even keeled, but I love what I don't want to really consider them a winner because I don't love Tyler Guyton as a player. Like he's not like a guy that they stole, but sure. I love the trade back. I love this is a team that needed more. They needed another day 2 pick. So it's better than what I thought. I'm happy with that. And listen, Timmy, Drake May, I think you're going to like Drake May.
Listen, I like I said, I don't hate Drake May. I'm excited for Drake May. It's just I thought he was a very raw kid. And because he's so raw, to come into this team with the pieces that we have, I am nervous. I'm like, I feel like we're going to get Zach Wilson because he's going to eventually step onto the field, whether it's game 1 or game 17 or whatever the season is. And he's going to get blitzed. He's going to get sacked a lot. He's going to throw interceptions and it's going to mess with his head because, again, Boston is a tough place. We expect winners. And if you're not performing, look at Mac Jones. Ever since he got injured with his high ankle sprain, he was never the same kid. Right. So, listen, I don't hate Drake May. At the end of the day, I just was looking at it from the fact that we have too many holes on offense. We could have traded back, gotten more first-round picks, multiple first-round picks, and then, done something from there. But, hey, listen, I'm excited to see what the kid has. He's got a hell of an arm, and he's going to be a very different quarterback than I think New England has seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
That's the point that Mike made when the selection was made. Like, this is, if you even go back, not even to Brady, go back to Bledsoe, like, just from that point on.
I haven't had a quarterback this talented in a long time.
I agree. No, you haven't. And again, like you mentioned, the raw ability, we'll see if they're able to put it together. But all in all, I loved my Steelers pick. Strengthen the offensive line. We needed that. Be able to protect the quarterback and creating holes for the run game. And it's a physical, tough AFC North, best division of football as far as I'm concerned. So being able to strengthen a need was, I thought a great pick by the Steelers. I'm so glad they didn't go defense because I thought that would have been just kind of a wasted pick. But everybody, shout out to everyone who was on the show: EJ, John Rivera, Barry Grant Jr., the guys that are on right now: Eric Van Letten, Tim Barnard, and of course, the draft meister himself, Mr. Mike Guido. There's more draft content coming. Our friends at the Cowboys Camp Fam podcast are doing some stuff tomorrow, doing stuff on day 3 and Saturday, so definitely be sure to check their stuff out as well. But fun show tonight. We ended up doing 2 streams, and everybody still stuck by. We actually ended up getting a pretty good turnout in terms of the people watching the show. So shout out to everybody for taking the time out of there's a lot of options out there to watch draft coverage, and the fact that you chose the Gryd Network is we genuinely appreciate it. So that is all we
real quick, Tyson, just because I feel like it's necessary for me to say this. I am extremely grateful, and I think I said this last year as well, but I do kind of want to continue doing this. I am extremely grateful as a co-founder of the Gryd. I am extremely grateful to have guys that are willing to, do a 4+4.5 hour stream to cover the NFL draft despite the fact that we lack the resources of NFL Network and ESPN and all these other places where we kind of have to rely on certain places to get our information. But I think we have an incredibly talented group of people that work with what we've got. Absolutely. I think we put together a great product. So I'm extremely grateful for that. And I can't thank you guys enough. You guys are fantastic.
Likewise, man. Likewise to all three of you, to everybody at the Gryd Network. Everybody, please check out our stuff. Hit the big red subscribe button on YouTube. Follow all of our social media platforms. Got amazing content creators. Our guy Patrick Brown writes great articles online, the Gryd Network's website. Check out the link through Instagram. So definitely be sure to check out all of our content. That is all we got tonight for the Gryd Network 2024 NFL Draft Live Reaction Show. This is the second one of these that we've done. Very excited for. Already excited for 2025. I don't even know who the first pick in that draft is going to be. So give me a blast once again for sure. But listen, football dominates, football rules, and we saw it once again tonight. So shout out to all three. Shout out to everybody who tuned into the show, and shout out, of course, to the best network in the world. It is called simply the Gryd Network. We will see y'all next year. Have a great time, everybody. Hope everybody gets a good night's sleep. Have a great night, y'all. God bless y'all. Peace out.